Whoa. Try to sneak through there. Mm-mm.
Try to sneak that big ass shoulder. Okay, we're on.
Those Vans you rocking?
Fucking awesome.
Vans?
I just got these for Christmas. And they have the comfort soles in them or whatever they come with. Woo, night and day. I have 2 pairs of Vans. One doesn't have these in, and these ones do. And these are 10 times more comfortable.
Yeah, I can't even use those anymore. But
those are orthopedic.
Ultra Range.
You can go wherever you want in those things, huh?
That's the name. That's why they call them Ultra Range. That's their claim to fame. But I put my insoles in them. Dude, I can work all day.
Yeah, but I can't take the insoles out of my Vans. You can take yours out?
No, I have some Good Feet insoles.
What's that?
The Good Feet store, they put you on a little thing and they measure your feet and they give you a specific.
It's like a whole
insole.
process.
Is it worth it?
Yes.
Is it?
If your feet hurt, I spent $500 in that store.
Jesus.
I wouldn't buy a $7 freaking thing the other day, but I spent $500 and it makes a world of difference.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. My feet hurt so freaking bad. I had the insoles, from the VA, which are good.
But they're not good enough.
I've actually never had Vans. I've always been a Chucks guy.
I was too, and I had to leave Chucks because my feet hurt too bad.
Really?
Yeah, so
like the outsides?
the bottoms. Plantar fasciitis was the finishing touch.
I don't know what that is. I've heard that before, but I don't know what it is.
It sounds terrible.
Yep, it has a fucked up name.
Actually, come to think about it right now, my feet kind of hurt.
Do they?
Why?
But
what are you wearing? Oh, you got Vans on too.
Yeah, but I'm in Dr. Scholl's during the day.
Got my Vans on.
My work boots, Dr.
Remember that song?
Scholl's. But
Do
they
ya?
look like
No.
sneakers. Got my Vans on. Yeah.
But they look like sneakers.
Yeah.
That's a classic. That's classic. No, man, I've never had Vans though. It's always been Chucks for me.
I just left the Chuck community last year. I still own them, but I rarely wear them.
Hey, Rango's watching. Rango, how does the sound?
I just couldn't understand how. Hello, Wrangler.
Hello, Rango.
I couldn't understand how I didn't understand how uncomfortable Chucks were until I put on like a normal, comfy pair of shoes. Because I wore Chucks every day. Like that was my main shoe for years.
Mm-hmm.
And man, those things are uncomfortable. What are you wearing? Oh, you got Are those high tops?
No, I have a pair of high tops though.
Well, I used to put the VA insoles in my Chucks, and they were survivable. It made a difference. It made them usable.
Good comms. Cool.
But nothing is like these Ultra Range.
But I can't take the insoles out of my Chucks. They don't come out, do they?
No, I actually put
I've never
on
tried.
top of the nonsense that's in there.
That's unheard
There's
of.
nothing in there, man.
You're
There's
double
just
stacking then.
No, I think there's like a really thin insole, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
a-
nothing.
a piece of cardboard.
There was a kid on the Mew that would run his PFT in Chucks.
That's stupid.
like
Okay.
no,
did
not
that.
on the Mew. It was
That's stupid.
Sergeant's course.
I did that.
Did
In
you?
Sergeant's course, we would go for runs, like in the woods and shit up there in Horno.
Well, back in your day, you guys used to play basketball and shit in them,
no,
right?
they used to wear Jerusalem cruisers. They
funny.
used to weave them out of baskets.
Didn't Chucks used to be like originally a basketball shoe, like
Yeah.
high tops?
Yeah, Chuck Taylor was a basketball star.
Yeah, Chuck Taylor. There you go. See,
Yeah.
I don't
Trying
know
to say
that.
he was old.
I don't know that. I'm not a NBA guy. Please check the video resolution. The current resolution is 1024 by 576, which is not optimal. I wonder if that means it's blurry. Rango, let me know.
Can you pull this up on the TV and you can see it?
No, I mean, actually, yeah, you could pull it up on your phone. If you look on YouTube, you'll see us streaming live. So for the listeners on audio only, we'll start this officially. We are live streaming this on YouTube right now. I'm trying to do more live streams. I'm learning as I go. It's a process. I'm learning about video bit rates and audio inputs and outputs and stuff like that. I've had a couple issues on some of my past live streams, but I appreciate the audience that comes in and sees me like growing. You guys are like growing with me, which is cool. So Rango says it looks good. So yeah, so for like I said, for my audio listeners that didn't catch us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Former Action Guys podcast on YouTube, and you'll get notified. I'm not announcing these yet because I think they're still a work in process. So I don't want to announce it and make it a big deal until I know they're good. Like we had some issues here and stuff setting up at the beginning before we started live streaming. So once I get that done. So until then, make sure you subscribe. Former Action Guys on YouTube to make sure to get the notifications. Guys, thanks again for coming. Hey, there it is. Thanks. Look at where we've come.
I wonder how much of a lag this is because my phone's still in my hand.
It's like 2 minutes.
Is that what it is?
Or not 2 minutes, like 30 seconds probably. Yeah, it's probably like a 30-second lag.
Wow, okay.
Here, make it come
I'm
on
really
mine.
spread
You guys have been around the podcast since the beginning, so you guys have seen it grow.
Yeah, it's
from the very
yeah.
very beginning. So I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Oh, we appreciate the opportunity to be here. Right?
Yeah. There it is right there.
Did you make us on there?
I think I need to go back and look at the stats since the 100th episode is coming up. You guys are supposed to be my 100th episode guest, but one person fell out, and then I got a little lazy.
Who fell out?
I'm not gonna no names.
Call them out.
No
Who
names.
was it?
Hey, sir. No.
Hey,
Yeah.
so
No.
how did you do that? How'd you make it come on my phone?
Whoa.
Whoa. Hey
Whoa,
there,
that's what
buddy.
she said.
That was supposed to be for after the show. I just went to on Former Action Guys on YouTube. It says live down in the corner, and you click on that one. Of all the lists of the videos that there are, the one that says live on, it's usually the top
If you
one.
were subscribed, you would have gotten a notification,
I am
and you would just have to
subscribed.
click. Okay, well, never mind then.
I
I've
aware of
watched
that.
every single one of these.
Yeah.
Hang on, where
That's
are
awesome,
we?
man. I've been getting a lot of messages from people that have saying they've
subscriber.
recently started the podcast or starting from the beginning and stuff, which, dude, the beginning ones are rough. Like the intros, I would sit there and drink a bunch and just be like sitting in my little apartment, like in front of the microphone, and it's just me, which is like the weirdest like environment it feels like to record in when you're just talking to yourself.
Yeah, but that old apartment was sick.
It was sick because it was close to
You
the
gotta turn
beach.
the volume down. I can hear it through the.
Getting feedback here.
Is
Oh
there?
my Lanta.
God.
Oh, I had it on mute.
God damn it. Tracy.
Burpees.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Goddamn smart.
But that was a sick spot. Yeah.
yeah, it was a really good spot.
Yeah.
Right there by the beach.
I know. I missed that spot.
Walking right down there. It was too small though, man. I couldn't stay there. It was a nice temporary in between like
Yeah, but
transition out of the Marine Corps
The
spot.
environment. Yeah, that's true. The environment was cool though.
I had good neighbors. Like we used to set
State
up, for those that
Farm.
don't know me, we used to set up like a movie projector in our courtyard of the apartment building.
That was my
We'd come
projector.
outside. That was your movie projector.
Yeah.
And then one of the neighbors was like a really good cook. Cameron is a really good cook and stuff. So he would make a ton of food, and we would set up tables and shit out front. And like we did Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Friendsgiving. We did the Friendsgiving.
It's like imagine like a horseshoe courtyard. As you walked in this gate, it was like a horseshoe, and the house is made like a U, and you
and
were
there's
inside
apartments on
the
both
U.
sides. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody was super cool. Like everybody would have their, not everyone, but for the most part.
For the most part, the
They'd
people
have
that didn't hang out, they didn't bitch about it. They were just, what
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
They'd still say, hey, what's up? They just didn't hang out.
Yeah. Cool neighbors. Everybody would just kind of leave their doors open like,
This spot is bigger. It's closer to downtown, which is cool. I can be downtown in 10 minutes, but I'm kind of in the hood a little bit. My neighbors aren't as social. And luckily right now I don't have anybody living upstairs. Normally you can hear people walking around upstairs because it's hard floors. And they've been trying to rent the place out. And anytime I see like them come and they're like showing the place, I'm like slamming like my cabinet doors shut, turning the microwave timer on so it's
vacuuming
beeping real
the
loud.
ceiling.
I'm like, yeah, I'm trying not to, so nobody will move in above me. I'm like trying to be loud. So I got ZZ Top playing on the TV and stuff. Yeah. Because it's hard to make the podcast when you hear doom, doom, doom. I mean, you guys have heard it before while we were recording. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't know. I get through it. I use the podcast as background. So when I'm, doing stuff in
Yeah.
the house, I'll listen to the stories, and then you can stop. Be like, oh, what's that story?
Yeah.
I listen to podcasts usually all day. But I
You've just
listen to,
recently
like,
started listening to them constantly,
like
right?
a year
like,
ago. When I have like if I'm not working with somebody or if I'm on a big job, like if it's going to take me a couple days to do it, it's perfect. Like on Thursday, I was on a big job by myself. It's like a 3-day job. So I think I crushed like 3 podcasts. If you just put an AirPod in and the work I was doing was like, it's just going to take me a long time, but it wasn't super difficult work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like very mindless, kind of like, and you just zone out.
Michael got his own van in plumbing. The listeners that listen to all the episodes that have listened to you come on know that you have been working as a plumber here in San Diego for a little while.
Yeah.
But you've been working as like a second hand, right? Like you've been bouncing around
Yeah,
with
so I
other
was like
people.
the apprentice. So I was like the helper, you
Yeah.
know, and getting out of the Marine Corps as a staff sergeant and then going to being a helper again. You're like, all right, but it's 10 times easier than your average helper that, because you're obviously
Yeah.
older. I'm 30 years old as a helper, I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. But I understand that you just got to work your way up the ladder and it's just going to take time. So yeah, so last week I got a promotion, I got a raise, and then I got my own van. This ballin' ass big old Mercedes Sprinter van, like a 20. I have the nicest van in the fleet too out of everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's super sick. I have a lunchbox in there that plugs into my cigarette outlet.
Yeah.
So I just bring my meal prep with me, and then I just put it in this lunchbox, and then at like 11:30, I'll just plug it in, and it heats my food up to like as if it just came out of the oven.
You guys have a nice van setup too, right?
Yeah, it's a sick van setup. It's super nice. I just put a power inverter in the back so I can like charge batteries and stuff, and it's pretty cool. I'm not mad about it.
Isn't it like a Mercedes? Like,
yeah, it's like a nice ass. It's like the big Mercedes.
dude,
the
a
big
lot of
black Mercedes Sprinter vans you'll see that people like trick out for traveling.
yeah, for camping and stuff like that.
I
for
have that,
glamping.
but everything in the back is for plumbing. Like,
Would you buy one for?
yeah, if I could afford it, yeah. Probably.
Aren't they pretty easy to customize?
I'd have to be rich. I mean, it's $70,000 for the van.
Jeez.
And then you got to think, okay, if it's a Mercedes big ass van, the insurance is probably not cheap. So
well,
I'd have to be making a lot of money.
G's, but I
'Cause
mean,
you could
we
buy
were
a
just
Ford
talking.
Transit for half the price.
Yeah.
I'd probably do that.
We were just talking about microbuses. I mean, those are 6 figures.
Yeah, but a microbus is a microbus.
Yeah.
You know?
Lacey wants one real bad. Lacey wants a bus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, things are pricey.
They are. If you get a nice one, they are 6 figures.
No way.
Yeah.
What's weird about it is they're not that good a vehicle. They're a Volkswagen. I mean, they're good in some aspects, but they're not comfortable to drive. They're not powerful. You know, when we go on like bug runs and stuff, I never take mine over 65, and I'm passing them, and I have to slow down and wait for
Really?
the other guys.
For the vans?
Yeah, so like if you're climbing a hill outside of Temecula,
Yeah.
you know, they're at 40.
Oh, you mean on the 15 out there?
Yeah,
How-
if they're stock, you know, you can
Yeah.
upgrade them.
How fast can your bug go?
I've had it up to, okay,
Downhill.
yes, I've had it up to 90. That was
What?
with the engine off.
What year is it?
67.
Oh, with the engine off.
I had the engine off and I had it neutral, and I was coming down the big hill coming back from Temecula, and I caught it and I coasted up to 90. Under power, it'll probably go 70 maybe. I never push it that hard.
You can't. I mean, it's something like that.
Well,
Original motor?
I think the motor's out of a 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran the
That
numbers
thing's
off the.
old.
He's been doing work on it. I told him, I was like, you're never going to get rid of that, right? Yeah.
No, I'm gonna have to buy another one because this one's got some rust. So
Yeah? That sucks.
yeah,
What
I'm
you
not
gonna do?
afraid of rust though. I mean, I'm 54 years old, so I'll probably make it another 40 years. So
Optimistic.
You know?
Okay.
You think the bug will make it 40 more
yeah,
years?
it'll make it 40.
How sick would that be to see him at 85 cruising in the bug?
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
How long have you had that?
2011.
Well, your future looks bright. You said you had fucking coronavirus, right? And you got over it? I didn't even know. You didn't even text us and tell us.
Bravo.
Was it bad or not bad?
Statistically, you
Did you
should
go
have
to the
died,
hospital?
though. I don't understand. How
No,
are you
it's-
living right now?
No, it's not.
Are you in
crazy.
the of age bracket
Oh, I don't
to
know.
be
I'm just kidding.
concerned?
No.
70 plus?
I don't think so. I think it's all in people's
Just
heads.
playing. No, but seriously, were you sick at all? Like actually sick?
So everybody's different.
Yeah.
And I can tell this because it went through my household.
Mm.
So I was down, 100% down, like you have the flu or whatever, where you just sleep all day for one day. And then the next day I was all like foggy headed. And by noon,
Yeah.
I was able to jump rope, and I was trying to get back into it.
That quick, huh?
And then, and then for like 3 days, I was good. And then I went down again for 24 hours. Next day I was good. And that's when I lost my taste and smell.
Oh,
So after I'd done the flu part,
really?
I
Because a
lost-
lot of people get the taste and smell thing at the beginning. That's how you know you're like, oh shit, I've got it.
Yeah. So, and then I had to go back and get tested, right? So I went and got tested. And
At the VA?
I did it at Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital. So I was positive. So I was like, all right, my wife tested positive. She was down for like 14 days hard,
Really?
like completely out of it. So she was positive. So I waited. Yeah, you're positive. Okay. Then she wanted to go back to work. So she had to get tested, go back to work. She came back negative. I had a dental appointment or whatever, and you got to get tested negative. But that's after I tested negative. That's when I lost taste and smell.
Really? That's
Yeah.
weird. I was talking to someone the other day. I don't remember who it was, and their coworker lost taste and smell, but they've tested negative for a month. So they think it might be a permanent or like something that may take a long time to come back. I'm like, dude, that sucks.
I lose my taste and smell
Can you taste things now?
all the time.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
bland. So you don't really
Give him the
lose-
shitty whiskey.
Yeah, get the cheap
Get the
stuff.
Michter's away from him.
You don't. I don't know. It's different for everybody. My wife still doesn't have it back completely. Everything's bland to her. But I tried to fight it off. Like I put Vicks in my nose. Ate a lot of spicy stuff. I'm
I can
beating
see
this
you
shit
doing
down.
some weird herbal remedies,
Yeah.
burning weird candles
Burning
and
sage in
oils.
his face.
I did a sage ceremony. And
And it
whisked
worked,
the
man. All
spirits
the
away.
evil spirits went away.
With my sinus surgery, I can barely taste and smell. It goes in and out, fluctuates because my allergies are so bad with this after the sinus surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So often I don't taste or smell really that much. So I never know. I'm like, man, if I had it, that's one of the things I'd never be able to
You
do.
guys could be spreading it to me right now.
Nah, man.
Thanks. So are you going to get a vaccine then? Are you going to get vaccinated? Do you
No.
even need to?
I don't believe in that shit.
Have you
man.
talked to your doctor? You're not a vaccine guy?
I don't know.
Well, you can't say that while you're in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, well, when you're in the Marine Corps, you just do what you're told. But
You get
Yeah.
every vaccine there.
yeah, I'm
Lacey's
allergic-
school asked if she. Lacey's school basically sent out an email that's saying everybody's getting vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, you need to fill out these forms. There's a bunch of forms. And she's like, "You think I should?" And I was like, "No."
That ain't none
No?
of their business, man.
I think. Well,
How do they have the?
I don't think she should, only for the fact that I think that she is not in a group that is like should be concerned. Like your older
I
people
think-
should be concerned.
The way I described it to her is I said, I think that there's more of a risk by taking it than not taking it. Because if you get the coronavirus, you're going to beat it. Like there's no... if I'm not worried about beating it, why would I be worried about taking a medicine that's... No, thank you.
For
There's
me,
no
it-
point.
for
Don't,
me,
if
it's
I'm
like-
not broken, don't fix it. Why the fuck would I take this? No, fuck no.
Yeah, for me, it's just like I'm just not in the at-risk category. I don't mind taking it. I take the flu vaccine every year.
Yeah,
Do-
but
do you-
I feel like the flu vaccine... I feel like this vaccine, I don't trust it.
well, we'll
it was
know
too
here
f-
pretty soon because
and it-
we've already given out.
And I'm not going to be the test dummy.
People hate
I'm
on the
sorry.
U.S., but we've given out a third of the vaccines that have been given out in the entire world. The U.S. has given out.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah. I just don't... There's
we
no
are
point...
vaccinating
everybody.
motherfuckers like it's cool.
I've heard some weird things about it, and I haven't done any research on it. So I'm like,
Do you know,
until
there
I
was
do,
200 San Diego firefighters that said they weren't doing it. It was on. It made like national news.
Yeah,
So-
I don't see. I'm not afraid of the virus, so I shouldn't. I don't care about a vaccine.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like putting some sort of additive in your car. That's like it should do your car a lot of good, but it could, not.
well. And
But your
the
car's not broken, so why would you do it?
Yeah.
At
I'm
the
not
same
gonna do it.
time, too, like if it's only good, like the flu vaccine, if it's only good for one of the viruses that's out there, and the next year, because the flu vaccine is different every year. It's kind of they go off of what they think is going to hit us. Dude, I'm taking number 1, but number 9 is what's hitting
I
us.
think if you're in an at-risk category, you should take it.
Yeah.
I think if you're over 70, where 80% of the deaths from COVID-19 are people that are over the age of 70, it's like 80 or 85%. I think you should take it. I
Well,
think if
again-
you're after them, I think if you're a frontline worker, even though you're not at a very high risk, to be honest, I think there's been less than 1%. It's like less than 0.5% of the deaths have been frontline workers of COVID-19. It's something like that. But they would be like next in line naturally in my own mind.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they want it. But my thing is too is only give it to the people they want it. Don't force people. And if there's like you're trying to like only this group can get it, I'd be like, if at this point right now, just get needles and arms. If you're really just trying to worry about vaccinating the general public to get the herd immunity or whatever,
Yeah.
just start getting needles and arms. Like who cares if so and so didn't show up? Give it to this person. They're fucking here. Give it to them. I don't care if they're above 70 or not.
Yeah, but you're making sense.
I know,
I
crazy
want to
talk.
ask you about your sinus surgery, though. Not to change subject.
no-
No, it's cool.
We can come back to it, but
Hey,
What-
pull your
what-
mic in just a little bit more.
towards me,
Yeah, just a little bit toward. There you go.
what did you have to do? What did you have to get done?
So, dude, I've always had headaches. Like for the last 2012, I started getting really bad headaches. Couldn't sleep. My vision started getting a little blurry. I'd notice I'd kind of slur my words like every once in a while, and I'm like, am I fucking dying? Like, what's happening to me?
Uh-huh.
And whatever. I did all these tests for years and years and years, and I kind of gave up. And then I went back, and they did a CT scan and said I had like diseased tissue. So you have like giant sinus cavities right here, and then like here, and there's some other ones. And I have like diseased tissue in the lining of my sinuses cavities up here. And I had a deviated septum, and he said it's like a honeycomb. Your sinuses are like holes, right? And sometimes if you get all this mucus buildup,
Right.
it creates like a honeycomb over those holes and then lines them with a bunch of nasty stuff. And so I had surgery at the VA hospital on base. Or not the VA hospital, what's the first hospital, the big one on base there in Pendleton?
Naval Hospital Camp.
Naval, yeah. Okay, yeah. Naval Hospital Camp.
It's real confusing there.
Yeah.
From at the ear, nose, and throat clinic, like a specialist, a doctor that was a specialist in this.
Yeah, ENT.
And, dude, they fucked it all up. Like, it's twice as bad as before they did it. Now I've lost a lot of my smell and my taste, which they said, hey, doing this, you could, but it's not going to happen. Like, it takes a while to come back, but it'll come back, maybe a month. And this was like 4 years ago. And now the headaches are still super persistent. My voice changed completely. If you were to listen I think I talked about this last time. If you listen to a video of me 5 years ago before the surgery, I sound like a totally different person.
Really?
I can recognize it, but a lot of people around me, like when I flew home after my surgery, like a year after, a bunch of my friends were like, dude, you sound different.
I don't think you sound
different. Because my voice is more like high pitched, like nasally kind of, because the whole inside of the nose, one of my nostrils is like permanently bigger than my other one now because they use a balloon to go in it.
Right.
And now this one's just permanently just fucked up, I guess. And still have the headache, still have everything else. Went back to the VA, had them re-image everything. Basically, everything up top is still the same. Nothing has changed.
Really?
So I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know what they did, but the VA now wants to do surgery on it. And there's the thin lining. There's like a membrane lining that separates your left nostril from your right nostril.
Right.
If they do it too many times and fuck it up, they could cause a rupture in between that, and you'll forever have a hole that when you breathe in, you could imagine that
Both
whistling
sides
noise that
connected?
would make. So like my throat in the mornings often is like real dry and nasty. I get these like, because there's just so much airflow that it's like constantly like mouth breathing basically. Kind of sucks. All in all, kind of sucks. But they want to do another surgery, and they're like, we think we can fix everything. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to gamble that again. Because imagine if they go up again, that would be the worst case fucking scenario. So I think I would like to get like an outside specialist, like of just a normal doctor to look at it.
Yeah.
To tell me, because
you haven't had any kind of non-VA people come talk about it?
No, because that's my insurance that I use is through the VA. So
yeah, I didn't know if they had like an outside person ever.
I probably could, but like I'm just with work and everything, dude. It's just like
that sucks.
Fuck.
You know what? So here's another sage thing. Chief Doran, I was sick as a dog one time. I have sinus issues too. That's why I ended up asking you. And it was a birthday party or something for my daughter, but I was fucked up, man.
Like drunk?
No, I was sick.
Oh,
and my sinuses were killing me, right? But I didn't want to let her down and stuff, so I told Chief Doran, I'm like, hey, man, here's the problem. You got any suggestions? And he goes, all right, you're going to hate me. But you have to do this, and you have to do it twice.
What?
And I'm like, all right, whatever, Chief Doran, I trust him, man. He saved my dad's life, man. So I trust him with anything. So he had me squeeze the juice of a lemon into he said to snort it from a cup, but I actually put it in like one of those nose sprayers.
Wait, what?
This sounds horrible.
Yeah, and you have to breathe all your air out, and then you stick it in your nostril and squeeze that thingy and suck that lemon juice all the way up into here. And it freaking hurts, bro. You're on your hands and knees. Your eyes are teared up.
I'm not doing that.
I think he might have been fucking with you.
He's like, he's doing it. He's fucking doing it.
So after I did it right. I did the first nostril, and I'm like, fucking Chief got me, man. He got me good. It hurts so freaking bad.
This motherfucker.
But I'm like, all right. He's such a solid guy. So I'm like, I'm doing the other one. Plus, I wasn't going to quit halfway. So I did the other one. Same thing, man. You buckle to your knees. Your head hurts. And then about 4 minutes later, I'm 100%, man.
Dude, no.
I feel like
way.
I feel like the same results would happen if you use like warm water
or like nasal spray.
No, so here's the thing. So whatever
I've never had issues like that. So
the acid that's in the lemon juice,
yeah,
no bacteria can live in it. So once you get it, you got to get it up into your sinus cavities.
up in your brain.
Jeez, that
So
sounds
once it's
ridiculous.
up there, it kills everything, and you just kind of blow your nose, and all that shit comes out, and you're good.
That's crazy. Hey, for the since we are live streaming here, for the people that are watching right now that have just joined us, feel free to leave some comments. I can respond to questions. Have you been around the show for a while? You may know these two.
I like questions.
If you have any questions, I will field them for you.
I
will field your questions. If you haven't subscribed and you're listening to the audio only, you're missing out. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube.
I am wearing a super cool jacket right now. Lacey
I like
got me
that. Is
this
that new?
She got me it from Chubby's.
I feel like that's a Christmas thing.
Where I get my shorts from.
You should have got that before the holidays.
I got this on Christmas.
Oh, well.
But it's like crazy comfortable. It's like a North Face kind of feeling, but like it's well made.
Yeah, high quality. Chubbies.
Very.
Aren't they the shorts people?
They're the ones I get all my swim trunks from.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is like cream
And
of the
they're
crop
not
right
a
here.
sponsor, by the way.
They are not a sponsor.
They could be if they'd like
If
to.
they want to send me some free chubbies, I guess. I don't know.
At Chubby's. Dude, I live in short shorts in the summer.
Yeah.
Sky highs. As far up in these thighs I can crank them babies, I'll get them.
It's been cold the last week here, man. These winds. He got some shit ripped down, too. Didn't it mess your place up in Oceanside? So for those that don't know, if you're listening to this, you may not know either. I don't know. There's been some heavy storms coming into San Diego. The whole coast. It's like what do they call it? A jet or something like that? Not a jet stream,
El
but
Nino.
there's like a blade of, I don't know. There's like a thing of
Grass?
storms that are sliding down the state, and we're getting hit by it right now, or we were.
Midwest is getting packed with snow too.
We were getting 50 from this. It's because of this.
Dude, I was
50 mile an hour winds.
I was out in east a bit. I can't remember what town it is. It was like 7. My first call was at 8. And there was like snow on the ground, not like hail snow. Like when hail it's like slushy, but it was like snow on the ground as I'm walking to this guy's backyard. I'm like, where in the fuck am I?
Oh, really?
It was 39 degrees out on my way to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, and like 4 motorcycle dudes on crotch rockets passed me.
Ooh, that's
like
frigid.
like sweatshirts and like a hoodie and pants.
That's frigid.
Coldest I've rode in was at home was probably that weather, but like out here. Probably like
but back
50,
home you were probably
48.
You were probably used to it too.
It was freezing still back at home.
Yeah.
But could you imagine out here where it's not really that cold? It feels like it's like that needles. Like it feels like that wind is cutting through at
You're getting stabbed.
At that cold, that wind is just piercing you, dude. And your knees and your thighs just go numb because they're taking like the blunt of the, because they're right there. Whew. Riding the one time we rode to Julian one day and it was 60. It was like 60 here probably. All of us rode up to Julian. By the time we got up to Julian in the town, everybody was in like winter jackets, because it ended up being like 45 degrees when we got there because the elevation change. We had no clue. We looked like the biggest idiots ever rolling in. The whole group of like 6 of us on motorcycles, and we like all huddled in this mom and pop place.
Yeah.
And it was already like 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it was only getting colder, and you're just like, and on the way home,
miserable.
Visors frosted over, like. Just miserable, dude.
Definitely get some frostbite doing that.
So cold, man. And when you get home, you've been locked in there for an hour, sitting in that same position, and you're freezing. You're trying to like stretch your legs out to get off.
Fuck that, dude. That does not sound like fun at all.
Did you ever have a motorcycle?
No. As a kid, I rode dirt bikes and shit, but
that was when you could be free, though, huh?
Yeah.
Back when 3-wheelers were still a thing.
the Honda 350s or whatever.
My
I used
neighbor,
to have one.
when I was in middle school, my neighbor across the street had a 3-wheeler.
Those things were like the most dangerous machines you could ever
Apparently,
operate.
I didn't realize.
They're super tippy. Like you could just roll that thing in an instant. We had one, and we used to rip that thing around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rango asked, "What's the most obscure military courses you've been to? Like military training." You probably have some weird shit from back in Nam.
Yeah.
Not obscure. I mean, the foreign weapons instructors course was probably the.
Didn't you do that one too?
Yeah, I did the advisors course. Is that what you did in Virginia? Rango did it too.
It probably was something the same thing, but it was before. But it was only staff sergeants could go to it at the time.
What all did you get to shoot?
And everything, BARs, Thompsons,
Those aren't foreign weapons.
Well, yeah, AKs, the whole deal. What was that? Everyone loved them. MP5s. But
That'd be cool. I've always wanted to shoot one of those.
Those
Yeah,
would be cool. The littler ones.
there was 2 of us sergeants that got to go, and we were like the test bed. You know, you're the first sergeants to get to go, and we came in 1 and 2, so that was cool.
That's cool.
Who was 1 and who was 2?
He was 1. I was 2.
Ooh, that's why he said 1 and 2.
Oh, and you know why? Let me tell you why. So you had to do the range safety things, you know, the bat wings and all that for the ranges.
Yeah,
the
the
ricochet
cards.
factors and all that.
Yeah.
And you had to sharpen your pencil all the time because they measured the degrees, and with 1 degree made a difference between a point or whatever, right? And if your pencil lead was too wide, they measured the outside part of it.
That seems a little douchey.
Yeah, they were freaking tough, man. Especially on us, you know, because we were
Yeah.
like a couple of sergeants in the staff sergeant course. Back then, staff sergeants were like, you only talked to them once a week. And but yeah, I didn't sharpen my pencil on one of them, and they called me into the office and go, you know, you would have been the #1 student if you wouldn't have been so fucking lazy and not sharpen your pencil.
piece
for
of
this
shit.
line.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they gave me a hard time.
Our advisors course was
real
nothing
piece of
like
shit.
that. I mean, it was cool. The advisors course is probably the coolest one I've ever been to in Virginia.
Yeah, you did a different one. You did like a I don't know. Yours is different than the one I went through before my deployment. It was so stupid. It was like there was good stuff and there was bad stuff. It was almost like going through MCT again because they're sending guys back. They're sending guys to Afghanistan as advisors, but they're pulling guys from all specialties, right? So like we had a data guy, we had a comm guy, me. I was only fire support guy, and the rest were like infantry and supply and shit like that. But it was like, all right, these are night vision goggles. Here's how we put the batteries in. And we're like half the dudes are infantry guys, and all of us, except for like 2 guys on our team, had deployed already. And we're like, are we seriously sitting through this fucking... You're seriously sitting here telling us how to put in night vision? Like, we're all sergeants and above. No junior Marines, all NCOs. And it's like... that, and that's the level they started at. And then they worked up from there.
Actually,
but
there was a...
it was so stupid.
during our... Actually,
That part.
wild shit happened at our course. So our course was in Virginia. We got there. It was myself, Hitchens, Billups, and... was it just the 3 of us?
Is Billups still in? I know Hitchens
No,
is.
Hitchens is in. Yeah, it was just the 3 of us that went. And Billups and Hitchens ended up getting kicked out
Yep.
for some wild shit.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was crazy.
For drinking or something, right? But it was not like
So
they were hammered.
One of the courses that we had to do was that we had to like be in civilian attire, and you had to learn how to counter. Man, what's the word I'm looking for?
Counter
there?
survey.
Counter surveillance is what we were learning exactly. And so we were like the idea that day was that you're all in civilian clothes, we all have our rental cars, and we're all going out to these places, and you got to try to figure out who's trying to you're trying to figure out who's trying to surveillance you.
Right.
And like one of the stops was, and they were told that like, hey, we're going. They told us stories before about how the guys like these are the instructors. The instructors had told us stories before about how the class before us, they all went out and like got drunk and like partied at one night for one of their. This was their counter surveillancing. They had to act like they were being cool, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so they always harped on when you're wherever environment you're in, you got to make it look like you're part of the environment. So we stopped for lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings. And Hitchens and that was part of the court. It was like because the waitress there was going to ask to take our pictures and shit, and we weren't supposed to let her because we were pretending. I don't know. She was going to try to get information from us. Is what it was. We weren't supposed to know that, but come to find out, like obviously if we're there, I'm like, okay, this is probably where this is going to happen. And Hitchens and Billups just ordered a beer, but they both ordered a Corona because like we're at Buffalo Wild Wings. The course. The whole course environment was very relaxed as well. You're in civvies every day. Like you're in civvies for a lot of the days. This was all in civilian attire. By no means, like we're all smart people. By no means did I ever get the hint that you couldn't order a beer. I didn't order one just because I was driving. And I'm like, well, I can't. Obviously in this course, I can't. Even one beer. Like that's just stupid.
Yeah.
And so then we get back, turn in all the receipts and everything. We had to turn in the receipts for it. And what happened is the counter surveillance went in and got our receipts out of the garbage or whatever it was, to get like our.
Oh, really?
That was like part of when you're somewhere you're not supposed to leave anything. You're not.
Yeah.
So they saw in the receipts
Leave
that
no
they had
trace.
ordered beer. And
Bastards at a bar.
So the gunny that
How
the
dare
gunny
they.
that ran the place, or the gunny that ran who was in charge of that class, he was one of the instructors there. was kind of a douchebag gunny. Like he really tried really hard and kind of like you could just get bad vibes from him. Like it was just weird. He told the course, like the CO, that he told all of us before the class started that we weren't allowed to order alcohol because to cover his own ass. Because I'm guessing maybe he was supposed to, or I don't know how.
Were you guys the only guys that drank anything?
Yeah,
real shitbags.
Well, you're all you are a shitbag. So
I'm harassing you.
I
That's
know.
not true.
I'm just kidding. So, and it was very like the way it happened was not anything like if everybody was sitting around, you would never thought that they were trying to get drunk or they just ordered a beer with lunch and that was it. And I think what it was is the CO somehow found out of the course that they had drank and then came confronted the gunny, and the gunny was probably like, no, I told them they couldn't drink because he's probably supposed to maybe, and they've been lackadaisical about it, you know. But before, for sure, all the instructors were telling us the class before was talking about they all got drunk during theirs.
So they got kicked out of the advisor's course.
So and then they went in there. So Billups,
was this the end of the course? Or?
They only knew that Hitchens drank. It was either they only knew that Hitchens drank or they only knew that Billups drank. They only knew that one of them drank. I think it was Hitchens. And Billups turned himself in and was like, well, I had a beer too, because he didn't want Hitchens. Hitchens was just going to go down by himself.
Gentlemen.
And Billups was like, you know, I had a beer too, hoping that it would be like, hey, two of us drank. We didn't.
Well, yeah. And you're supposed to try to blend
in. And they kicked him out of the course and sent him back.
That's
they both
crazy.
got 6105s. And we were already in like
stupid.
hot water because we were in Chuck. Chuck was in hot water. I think they had just got the Humvee stuck like the week before we left. Remember that happened when we were all out on the... They were on some other course.
You guys got that Humvee stuck going out to the...
Rango and Hitchens. And then we all left for the advisor's course. They didn't want to give us
I was so
rooms.
pissed when you guys got that Humvee stuck because I was the one dealing with a lot of it. I was getting yelled at.
I apologize for that.
I was so pissed.
So the course...
Because I argued to get you guys into that course. That's what made me mad about it. I argued to get you guys
I wasn't even there when the Humvee got stuck.
I know.
No idea. But anyway, all that had happened. Yeah, and they sent him back, and you try... As when we were Chuck, we were such black sheep that like you can't sit down and be like, hey, this is really what happened, sir. Like, I'm on a one-on-one with you. That's not how it went down. ANGLICO wasn't like that once you left. So it was like no one believed him. So yeah, they kind of got fucked.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one thing after another happens. People stop caring. They're like, okay, sure, dude.
Right.
It's like somehow you have the worst luck in the world.
And the way it came back to the unit was like basically that not that they were trying to party, but they were like ordering alcohol while they were during a class. Like nothing was said the way it was not interpreted in the best way. Yeah. So it was, you just kind of got to take the hit. And then it was just me there. And I'm like, fuck, I got to do good because like all lights out.
How was the rest of the course? Did they get most of the course or?
No, they didn't even get to do the fun stuff. Well, they did get to do some of the fun stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they got to do the final about the course. So I don't know what.
I don't think they got to do the final sear. I don't think they got to do. No, they weren't there for that, which was like the gnarliest part of the whole thing. I don't think they got to do the live shoot where we did all the AKs and all that.
That sucks.
That
was the cool part about being on the advisor team. We called it. It was called. What was it called? I don't even remember. Advisor training group. It was advisor training cell and advisor training group. And then you went to 29 Palms and they were like, you are advisor certified gold or some shit like that. It was like, once you finish the final exercise and stuff like that, they're like, now you're like, here's a certification to put in your, OMPF or whatever it's called, whatever your file.
Yeah.
And, we got to go out and shoot a ton. We were shooting, they had so much pistol ammo. There were guys who were like, dude, fuck this. I don't want to shoot anymore. Like, here's my ammo. I'm like, dude, fuck this. I mean, this is 2012. I'm like, dude, ammo shortage in the country right now. You're giving me free hundreds of rounds of pistol to shoot. Just go. And it's not like dumb Marine Corps shooting. There's some bro, like former operator turned contractor that's out there running the range. Like, what do you always say? I want jazz hands. Like, I want to see your fucking... I don't remember exactly what it was he was saying, but dude, we got to shoot a ton, and we got to shoot the Dragunov, which I told my kid about that the other day. I was like, yeah, I shot a Dragunov. He's like, what?
I shot those at that course. I totally forgot I got to shoot that.
Yeah, RPK,
shot that.
PKM.
Yep.
What's the one? I think it's the RPK, the one where you have to like put each round into the belt. Like the belt is a metal belt that you have to.
Yeah, you have to preload.
We shot both of those.
There was like this old machine that you would crank, and those rounds would go in, and it would like push them into it.
I totally forgot I shot all those.
Yeah, those are fun.
What a cool thing to say, like that. Oh yeah, Dragunov on the video. Yep.
Yeah. You were like, oh yeah, I just did this. Like I remember one time I came home from leave and we went to a local gun range in Lafayette, Indiana, and they had a Uzi, that you could rent, like a full auto wood stock, like old school, not
cool.
like the gangster like Uzi,
Yeah.
but like a full up Uzi. And I was like, oh, fuck it, let's rent it, man, let's shoot it. And I didn't even think about it. The other dudes I was there with have never fired an automatic gun before, so they're all like, woo, like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's okay, like whatever. But I'm like, it's something you take for granted that you've gotten to do, like you've gotten to shoot a fully automatic weapon before.
That's the whole military thing. So I did a deal with Apache 1.5. Long story short, the company gunny,
What's Apache 1.5?
Alpha Company 1.5.
Oh, okay.
First time, fifth
Just
Marines.
making sure.
So that was my
Could have been an army unit.
no, that was my company in Iraq,
Okay.
and the company gunny now was a team leader as a lance corporal for me when I was a first sergeant. And the guy that does all their swag, T-shirts and all that, flags and hoodies and stuff, he's a former 1.5 guy, Alpha Company. So he was doing a presentation. They did a 15K hike, did the O course, and then at the end of the O course, he had all their T-shirts, and we put them all out on tables and stuff. Anyways, he had a couple of his buddies there. One of them was the artist that designed the logo, and another guy that was like a distributor for him. And they're civilians, so we were talking, and a couple of Hueys flew over, and they're like, "Hey, what's the story there?" You know. And anyways, we're talking about. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's so much better than the old Huey. The old one only had one blade. This one's got 4, and it rides different." We take all that for granted. They were in awe. Like, you flew in a helicopter?
Yeah, dude. If you talk to regular people about helicopters, they think it's some kind of magic machine that they would
Yeah.
never get into. Like it's some dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess it is dangerous,
Well,
but have you ever been in the helo wreck? Or have you ever...
I was in an auto rotate. So they
So
had
basically...
yeah, they call it. They had to auto rotate in, and we hit the deck.
What kind of helicopter?
It was a CH-47.
Okay.
So
the
it
old
was
dual
Chinooks?
blade.
Yeah, it was the Army version.
Yeah, the Army Chinook.
46 was ours, I think.
Yeah, 46 is ours, 47
Yeah.
is theirs. Theirs are nicer. It has like
Theirs
tuck
is
and-
bigger.
tuck
Air
and roll
conditioning.
interior, you know. But yeah, we were in Central America, and
The hell were you doing in Central
Yeah, I'm
America?
like, wait a second.
so
time
yeah, we're
out.
doing some stuff down there.
Just hanging out.
And you know how they mess with you? They're like, "Oh yeah, the
pilots? Yeah.
the tranny went out. You know, do this."
Well, I've never
Yeah.
had anyone do that.
So, anyways, so they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have to auto rotate in. Everybody, you know, hang on and don't exit the aircraft until the crew chief tells you to." Roger that. So we're holding on, and they still had power, but they didn't have enough. And so we auto rotate in. We hit the deck, right? Boom, and the helo bounces, comes back down. Boom, and you can hear the blades bending
Slapping.
down, like hitting the ground or something.
Man.
I don't know what was going on. I've just holding on, like,
That's
you know.
so nutty.
Did you
And-
think you were going to die? Were you like, oh my God, this is
it's-
it?
You don't really, you like, you can't show any fear,
Well, yeah.
right? Because you're like, hey, ain't nobody gonna see me being a bitch, right? So you're hanging
That's
on.
how it is, too. That's exactly how it is.
Everybody's looking at each other like,
You're trying
"You
to be
good, bro?"
cool.
It's all good, man. Don't worry, you know. So anyways, we hit the ground, and I don't know if the blades actually hit the ground, but it seemed like they did because a bunch of dirt comes in, and you can hear them going crack, crack. And I go like this, and I look up, and it's me and the crew chief. We're the only 2 people in the bird.
Everybody else got out.
Everybody freaking swooped out the back, like off the second bounce. They were gone.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for him to tell us to get out because I didn't want to get whacked by
That guy's probably passed out.
the rotor blade or whatever. And he's just holding on. I'm like, all right, I'm getting out. You know, like,
Yeah.
you getting out, bro?
That's sketchy, man.
Go
Top
on.
Sal was in that 53 crash out in Hawaii. I think like 2 guys got killed, I think. At least 1 guy got killed in that fire. I think it might have been the corpsman, too.
It's wild how often we flew too. I look back at it, I'm like, man, it's been a minute since I've been in a helicopter. When we were in an ANGLICO, you were in one every other month, maybe, right?
I never minded flying until I flew a 53 from San Clemente back to Pendleton, and it had a mechanical issue, and I thought we were going to crash for 30 minutes while we continued to fly. Without float coats, they didn't give us the oxygen bottles or the thing, and we were just flying over the ocean for 30 minutes. And after that, I was like, every time, like, God damn it, here we go. But before that, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? What are we going to crash?
Not gonna happen to me.
But once that happened, like, and the helicopter was flying all, like, it was rocking back and forth, and it was just doing this, like, crazy shake. And I'm like watching the crew chief like, this fucking dude freaks out, I'm gonna freak out. And then Demaro told me later, he's like, dude, I was watching you, and he was like, if Staff Sergeant freaks out, then I'm gonna freak out.
That's why you can't.
That's it. That's why you can't freak out.
One time we left Mateo, and we were in the Jeeps, and you put the Jeep in the back of the 53, and you don't chain yourself in. You just drive into the Jeep, and they chain you in, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh, you mean you drive into the 53 and they chain you while you're in?
yeah, you drive right in. It's a whole like op thing, you know. You drive in, boom, hit your brakes. And
that's cool.
They lock you down, and the bird takes off like this.
That's so fucking cool.
So as it
Spark one of those up
as
while
it,
he's telling the story.
as it takes off, we roll back. We're the back Jeep.
Oh fuck no.
We roll back,
Fuck
right?
no.
And so I'm the sergeant, right? And the driver's right here, and I'm like, put your fucking foot on the brake, bitch. Put it on the brake right now. So he puts his foot on the brake, and I'm like, don't fucking move your leg. Well, you know, you take off, you roll back to the end of the chain. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're just getting the slack out.
Yeah, but it was fucking scary, man. So
yeah, thinking you're gonna roll out the back of a fucking helicopter.
yeah, because we're like,
I'd be scared.
The gates
Go ahead.
down, and so we flew all the way to Yuma, and that poor kid, man, he couldn't. Every time he would like start to doze off, I'm like, put your fucking foot on the brake, bitch.
That'd be scary as shit.
That.
So you're facing in it though, so you can't see back?
So you drive
Fuck,
in.
No, that's sketchy.
And when they take off, they're like, and so you roll back. You know,
how
and
cool
then,
is that though?
When you get out, you're like, oh, the chain was hooked on. We just.
I think
we were rolling back on the end of the chain, but he couldn't move his leg like you're telling a motorcycle story.
I think about people back home, the stories they have, and I'm like, they can never. This is why guys get out and have issues, because they can never do the crazy stuff that they've gotten to do, and the people that they're around can never relate to that cool stuff that they got to do.
It took me a while luckily I have the motorcycle, so a lot of my adrenaline I can just use towards that.
Yeah.
But I was unaware of how much adrenaline I fed off of in the Marine Corps, just on a day to day. Like even just going on a hike or doing any type of training, or you can always use your anger and you could use your anger and like you're
like athletes. You're always doing shit. If you're in a unit like we were,
Yeah.
or in a job field,
you get paid to like use your stress as anger to get mad. Like getting mad at work people would tell you to. You know what I'm saying? Like. And now you can't. It's the total opposite. Total opposite in the normal world. So and it's like, where do you go with all your adrenaline? What do you do with all this? Like, you need to destruct with blowing stuff up, and like, what do you do with all that now?
Yeah, shooting weapons.
I smoke a lot of weed now,
or solving problems.
Podcast.
You know, like
that's what I love about plumbing that's what I love about plumbing is the troubleshooting and problem solving I get to do on a day-to-day basis keeps me sharp, and it keeps me. I still get a sense of like helping people. I go to someone's home who has an issue and I have the opportunity to help them, and I can. So I get a lot out of that. But as far as I miss the most, I mean, the friendship was great. The familyness was great. And just the adventure. Always there was always an adventure. You didn't know what country you were going to. You didn't know what you were going to be doing. So I just went to Mexico last weekend for the first time. That's the first time I've been out of the country in a minute. And I'm like, fuck, I miss this. I miss like the
unknown.
Yeah. And in the military, the unknown is also still secure because like you're in another country, but you're secure. Like
you're like, oh, I'm here with the military. Like, what are they going to do?
I am the representation of the United States.
People aren't going to fuck with like the U.S. government people.
Exactly.
For the most part.
Yeah. And that's the thing when you go, I love going to third world countries.
You get a good appreciation.
You always go there as a.
I had Archer on the last podcast, Major Collin, Michael Collin, the Cobra pilot. He and I got to fly out to Malaysia on our own. Well, we had like a couple other people, but not with a unit, to go do some like planning for an upcoming exercise. And we went to Sabah, which is like a island, which is one of the states. But I guess they've had like terrorist attacks and shit there. So we could like, in some spots, no, not there. They didn't want us walking around on our own at all. We had like security with us. Like we would go out to eat and have security with us, like rolling around in the like little Toyota pickup truck with the weapons and shit, and we're all in our civilian attire and everything because I don't know. It was super weird, but it's like it makes you appreciate shit. You know, but it's cool seeing something different. I was telling somebody about Sabah the other day, how we would be out in the palm, like down where the palm groves are, these massive where they do palm oil, and you'd see dead monkeys on the road because they'd get run over like they're dogs or something.
Sorry.
Damn. Well, now Sabah is part of Malaysia.
Malaysia, yeah.
Yeah.
I got food poisoning in Malaysia. Like,
Well, it's because you ate fucking monkey brains.
that's not when I got food poisoning either.
Was it monkey brains? It wasn't monkey brains. Was it?
Monkey.
Arm, leg,
I
thigh.
had a monkey. I had the paw in my hand.
Dark meat. That's weird.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't that good though? I would not eat it again.
Does it taste like chicken?
No, it did. Well, they cooked it over they just killed it and then like cooked it over a campfire in the middle of the woods. So it was like very charred, and it was very like kind of like leathery, almost like a beef jerky, but a gamey beef jerky, like but not a good like deer or.
Did they skin it or did they just like burn the hair off?
Burn
of
it because there was like still hair like not on it, but like when hair gets singed, it
Yeah, but
coils up.
They
gross.
eat totally different. So I was
Yeah.
in Indonesia.
We did that. Oh, sorry. We did that fox and lizard.
Oh, you had fox too? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I knew lizard.
The lizard wasn't very good.
Can't
Can
imagine.
imagine.
It's got to be kind of dry.
It is very dry. Like
Really?
just tough.
I
Like,
would think that it would be kind of like fish.
No, it's real tough and like again, everything's charred
The
over a
meat
fire.
itself.
So
Yeah.
And
like,
that's like
true.
rattlesnake. You ever eat rattlesnake?
no,
it's-
but I heard snake's actually really good.
It's kind of, well, maybe if you know how to make it. I don't.
It's real muscly though, right?
It came out real dry, like a overcooked chicken, kind of.
Snake has got a lot of muscle though. I think it's probably
the
it's-
whole thing.
you
I mean,
can
I was gonna say the
easily
whole thing's a
overcook
muscle.
it. You can like easily overcook it. Should I grab that lighter?
If you want to, go ahead. I
I'm
got
sorry, guys.
wires and stuff.
Justin
So
can't catch.
I was telling you, your Malaysia thing reminded me. I went
Should
to
have a backup.
Indonesia one time, and we were doing some training with the Indonesian
I
Marines.
never got to go to Indonesia. I hear they have really good ranges out there.
Yeah, I guess they were good. They're like, shoot over there.
Well, my buddy was saying that you had to watch out for people, scrappers. He's like, they would literally be in the bombing area.
Oh, that's in.
And they'd like go into a bunker that they created in the bombing area, wait for the bombs to hit, and within seconds of the bombs hitting, they'd run out and try to get scrap metal.
Yeah, try to
from
get
it.
pieces.
I'm
That
like,
was-
that's insane.
what was the trip though is we
Nate Garns.
where we stayed, and then where we had to go was in a different part of the. You had to go through the city, and the Indonesian Marine Corps would come pick us up in their 7 tons or deuce and a halves, and they had the old Jeeps, and they'd drive down the center of the road,
Just make everybody get out of the way.
and everybody pulls off the road, and there's people, like in their little carts and shit, and the guy in the passenger side of the Jeep, he just stick his foot out and knock them off their bikes. Boom!
No way.
No way.
Yeah, if they got within arm's reach, he was kicking them, and it was pretty fun.
When we so here's a funny story. When we were in Malaysia, we went out to this weird hotel basement bar. It was me, Archer, one of the other people from the MU that was a representative, and I think there was a couple Navy SEALs or something that was there for some reason. And we're in this basement bar, and of course there's a Indonesian it was a all the singers in like Singapore and stuff. Where'd they come from?
Philippines.
Philippines. There was like a Filipino band down there just killing it.
Those Filipino
Killing
freaking
it.
cover bands are the
Dude,
shit.
they are. Okinawa's got the same thing.
But there was like 6 of us watching this in a basement, in the basement bar. We got super hammered. The next day, we're going out to the range, right? And we're driving out in these Isuzus or some shit, I don't know, SUVs. And I'm in the back, and I'm like super hungover or something. Maybe it was the food, I don't know. But I was like sick, and I'm like, we're like heading out, and I'm like, man, I don't feel good, dude. I just don't feel good. And I just open the door, and I'm puking out the door as we're driving. A moped goes by while I have the door open, puking, and he looks over at me like, what the fuck? And he didn't see something and wrecked at like
no
30
way.
miles an hour. And I'm like, the driver's like, yeah, he's probably dead. And we just kept going. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yep.
Like, did he seriously just kill himself watching me puke out this door?
Oh man, karma, bro.
That's fucking crazy.
I mean, how's that my fault?
No,
like, you
it's,
can't be.
it's his karma. It's not your fault.
Damn.
we used to be when we were
That's
in the
so crazy,
Philippines
though.
in Crow Valley. They would do that. I've totally forgot when we'd be done with
Crow
our
Valley is where I've always heard about.
We'd be done with our ranges, and you can hear rustling like in the bushes, no shit, and people would just come out, and they know they can't step on the range until we leave. But I used to have videos. The second they say they call it, the range is closed, is not hot. No shit, like hundreds of these people would swarm like bees.
Really?
All
Hundreds?
these bags, Like, I used to have videos on my old phone. I'd say easily 100 people. I shouldn't say hundreds. I'd say easily 100 people from every inch of this, because the range was like kind of brushy on the sides of it, to where if you hunched down, you could easily be concealed in it. And you just hear this kind of rustling, and they'd have the Filipino guys with us that were like monitoring the outskirts of the range. And as soon as they would yell the range is closed, literally like swarms of zombies would come in and pick up all the brass and anything that they can find. So we didn't have to do police call.
I wonder what they're doing with it.
Probably scrapping it, I would guess. Brass is a good...
Melting it down.
They're good. They're good with all
reusing
kinds of
them,
stuff,
maybe, I'm
man.
not sure, but brass is pretty...
I think it was...
good
I
money.
don't know if it was Kuwait or somewhere else. They were saying that they let locals come in to clean the range off, brass and all that stuff. And they would come in and get all the brass and melt it down and turn it into little figurines and turn around and sell them back to the Marines and
that
soldiers
makes
and
perfect
shit.
sense.
Little local trinkets like
yeah.
like some of the shit I've got.
But those Filipinos are good, man. Like
Oh, the
Good
bands?
food.
Dude,
The stickers are great.
Yeah. Well, we stayed on
They're so good.
a Navy base one time, Filipino Navy base on Palawan, the island of Palawan. And I guess it's supposed, they told us this, I don't know how true it is. It's supposed to be their premier Navy base, right?
Premier.
Oh, Premier.
And it looked like,
God.
the Navy base in Tijuana or something, right? It wasn't what we would consider.
Premier.
Yeah, we lived on a soccer field, in our shelter halves on a soccer field. They had one shower head in all the buildings. There were just pipes sticking out of the wall. And I guess people came in. But it was built by us in World War II.
Probably still the same buildings.
Yeah, it was the same buildings. You could tell all the layout. And there was a Quonset hut, like an AFES Quonset hut.
Yeah.
But it was their
It's like the PX for those that don't know what an AFE is.
And it was definitely something we had left there. But they had an old Willys Jeep and an old Deuce and a Half. That was the two vehicles for that base. And they were 50 years old, and they were perfect.
That's cool.
I'd love to buy a Willys Jeep. I'd definitely cruise around on one of those on the
Grandpa
weekends.
had one.
That'd be like having a bug, It's like one of those things. It's not comfortable. It's not practical.
It's cool though.
But it's cool to have, like, just cruise around it.
Lacey wants a van, and I'm like, man, maybe I'll start
A microbus? Yeah.
looking into how much a van.
I mean, if
would
you're going
be.
to get one, this is the place.
Yeah, definitely.
Southern California is the place to do it.
I can make that thing pretty cool.
There used to be a Volkswagen spot up in Oceanside. When you come down to Oceanside Boulevard, you go down that dip past the bowling alley on the right-hand side. People that have been at Pendleton know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there was a Volkswagen place there, but it may be closed now.
Yeah, that was B&R Buggy.
Okay.
How much? How much?
You're
we
the
talking?
guy.
Yeah.
How much we talking for a van? Like just a shitty.
A Westfalia one would be cheaper.
Yeah, so
I don't know anything.
If you're
about
talking about the classic with portholes.
Yeah, so your split window with the two-piece windshield, flat windshield,
Yeah.
super expensive. $20,000 for a beater.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, for something that you're going to have to work on before you could use it.
You're going to have to work on, and it's going to drive like shit.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be cool. You're going to be like, this sucks.
But you can buy a bay window, which is a 68 and later. It's got the one big glass front windshield. You can buy a bay window. That same $20,000 will get you a driver. A nice one. Something here. Like there's one for sale in Carlsbad for 17 or 15.
It's definitely an around town vehicle, though.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
I don't
plan
think you're
going to
want to travel.
far.
You can.
I mean, can you?
I took my the Bug I had before, the 65. I drove it all the way to Albuquerque, to El Paso.
How hard is that thing going over the mountain, over the 8? What's that mountain called with the golden acorn at top or whatever it's called?
You know what? I don't remember it being that bad. I mean, I never broke 60 miles an hour in it. But the radio blew out before we got out of Poway.
Oh,
So,
what? Nothing worse than a road trip with no radio.
Yep.
Oh
And
my Christ! What would you do?
Well, I had
Turn on your phone.
my two kids. They were like 6 and 7. They were in the back seat. Had shit strapped to the roof. We drove all the way to.
What?
Yeah.
That's funny.
What did you guys talk about? Like what? That's like old school right there.
Yeah, you play games and shit. All right, who sees a cow? Whatever.
I see the cow, Dad. Yeah, turn on the radio. Fix it.
No,
We don't want to be here anyway.
Look, I'm not playing the license plate game again.
Yeah.
They're all California,
Or
occasional Arizona.
Or they go to sleep. Yeah. They go to sleep
funny.
and you try to stay awake.
That's from the exhaust fumes leaking in.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, the speed limit was 55 back then. So I was going 60, and we were flying.
That's
Kids these days, they don't know about Herbie.
Yeah.
Herbie made bugs cool again.
with Lindsay Lohan.
No, well, there was an old school one. I'm talking about the old school one.
There was Herbie before.
You guys are too old. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never heard.
You're like
of it.
a couple years younger than me.
How old are you?
My mom's old school though. I used to watch like Sound of Music and shit like that when I was a kid on tape,
I don't even know what that is.
which has 2 tapes. You know what Sound of Music is?
No.
Doe, a deer, a female deer. Come on.
Why would you listen to that?
It's
Though?
a German. It's an
terrible.
Austrian musical.
It sounds
bro.
terrible. I've
It's
heard it,
actually-
yeah, but I've never sat down and said, "Let me listen to this."
Well, I was like 10. I didn't really get to choose much at that time in my life. It was what tape, that or whatever Disney movie we had.
And everybody makes fun of me for keeping the VCR.
My mom still has all these old Disney VHSs. I'm like, those are probably worth some money. She's got one of the mermaid ones that has the penis in the statue that they had to
way.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like that one might be worth something. Like if you look at the statue on the case, it has the little penis shape in it.
I wonder.
That's when Disney was going through all those scandals where it said like sex in the flowers with Lion King and what was it, like kids get naked or some shit like that on Aladdin.
Weird fucks.
Have you seen the new Aladdin? I want to see that.
With Will Smith?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It couldn't have been that good because it's not very memorable that I think about it. It was a while ago.
Really?
I don't think it was bad.
Yeah.
I think that it's worth watching, yeah.
Well.
Oh, I'm going to watch a movie tonight. I'm telling you again, Schitt's Creek. Give that shit a watch.
I've heard it's good.
Rango,
I'm going
if
to
you're
try
still
it, but I'm in the
watching
middle of watching all the Family Guy series right now.
So then now I've heard that Family Guy isn't going to do any more gay jokes.
But Family Guy's a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Family Guy's fucking hilarious.
Aren't they
They're
either
OG.
taking out or changing the voice of
Yeah, wow, why do I not know his name?
He has his own show.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Because it's a
That's what
white
I've
dude
heard.
that does a black guy's voice, so they're gonna change it.
That's why
the
they call
creator
it
of Family
acting.
Guy is awesome. He's funny as shit.
What's
Seth
his name?
MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
And he has like that kind of sense. I always think when I see Elon Musk, I think it's Seth MacFarlane. I think they look
Dude,
alike.
the
I don't
show's
know.
great. They burn everyone.
They killed it. Loved it.
Like every group, every subgroup
Yes.
has been made fun of on Family Guy.
Yeah, and I've been watching that shit since seriously like high school. Do you don't watch it?
No, I tried watching. I feel like I'm getting stupider by the minute.
Oh,
Probably,
great.
but it's good.
Oh yeah, it's
But
mindless.
I watch other stupid shit,
It's like the in between South Park and Simpsons.
Yeah,
Simpsons doesn't
Yeah.
seem like back in the day. People were like, I can't believe they allow this on TV.
Yeah.
But now you see it and you're like, this is kind of
Yeah.
lame, kind of tame.
Yeah.
Family Guy is definitely more harsh, and then obviously
he's
South
like
Park
a
is
CIA guy or something.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of American Dad,
Okay.
which I've actually never seen.
Yeah, it's all right. It's kind of they try to make it look too cool.
I don't know,
Vortex Rex 2001 said, "This is my first time I've caught you live. Love your podcast, and I appreciate all you guys. I'm as old as Tracy, so I can relate to the old core. Simplify, gents. The old core, you're not that old, Tracy. Tracy's only 65 this year. So
Wait, how old are you this year?
He's got his AARP card now.
Get out.
The old core. I think about the old core. I think about the old everything.
I think
often.
when someone says
Old
old
core-
core, I'm like Chesty Puller and before.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Well,
I'm thinking Korea and before. You know what I'm saying? Like Korea vets and before.
Yeah, Vietnam.
I don't
Vietnam
even
is
think
old.
Vietnam's old core. I think they're
That's super old.
well to us, but I think
In reality, I think old core is those old camis. That's all
back
I'm
in
saying.
World War II, the guys that said old core were the guys that were in like the banana wars and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
They're like, those are the old core guys. So we're having a discussion that they had 100 years ago.
Yeah.
man.
over the
Who
same
is
shit.
Vietnam
old
is
core?
definitely old. I feel
Oh, it's definitely old.
that's old core.
Man, I wonder what it was like to be in Vietnam. Fucking fighting in the jungles and shit. That had to have been crazy.
My grandpa was a radio operator.
Your
in Vietnam.
your seniors had to have been, some
Yeah,
of them had to
I
have
had
been
platoon
Vietnam
sergeants
vets.
that were Vietnam vets.
Dude, are they just hard as fucking rocks or what?
It was a spectrum. So you'd have the guy that was hardcore, like he was Marine Corps out, like that was it, and you were doing it his fucking way, or he's going to punch you in the nose. And
Like
then you-
legitimately punch you in the nose.
Yeah.
probably.
yeah, for sure, he's going to freaking deck you. Or you had the 1,000%er, which was a period when they emptied out like the jails and shit. Like, hey, you have a choice between going in the Marine Corps or going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Was that really a thing?
Yeah, they called it the 1,000%ers.
I think that's illegal now.
Oh
That's
yeah,
probably really illegal.
It's asinine. It's like some of the weird shit they're doing with the military now. But so you had those guys that were forced into the Marine Corps either by the draft or to avoid jail, and then they were successful because they were able to focus or whatever, but they weren't very bright, so they could kill somebody.
Are you talking about the 1,000%ers, the criminals that were coming in?
Yeah, so there was a staff sergeant. He was freaking hardcore. He knew every infantry thing you could think of. But if you tried to take him out of that realm, there wasn't a lot of intelligence there. Not a very good conversationalist. So it was a wide spectrum. Then I had the other guy, the Bronze Star guy. I asked him, like, how'd you get your Bronze Star, Staff Sergeant? His story is funny because he's like, yeah, dude, I was loading casualties on the birds, and we were getting extracted. Birds kept getting shot up. He goes, I was afraid to get in the freaking helo.
He's like, I only hung back because I didn't want to get shot up.
Yeah, he's like, I'll go last. So he goes, yeah, I got a fucking Bronze Star because I was scared to fucking get out of there.
Dude, that had to have been crazy.
I mean, could you just imagine it just raining and raining and raining and like,
or just fighting in the jungle, find a clearing so we can put these casualties on the helo. I mean, you still do that, but it's like,
imagine getting drafted. Imagine being
I want to
against
have
the war
a
and getting
draftee
drafted.
come on the podcast. I've been reaching out to a few Vietnam vets. I haven't had anybody. You may know a few.
I might have to try to see if I can find.
I'd love to have a draftee come on and talk about what that was like. Waiting, like knowing you're 1A is what it's called. If you're like no restrictions.
I have a buddy that was drafted for Korea.
Oh shit! Yeah, let's do that. I'd totally do that.
He's a character, man. He goes to every Marine Corps event. All the clubs and stuff. But he bitches the whole time. I fucking hate the Marine Corps. He's a character, man. He's funny as hell.
All he knows.
Happy when you're unhappy. Yeah. Joel Flores also said Will Smith made it in an Arabian Hitch. It's not good. Talking about the new Aladdin.
It's not. It's totally worth the watch, though.
Yeah.
Anything.
What's worth streaming right now? What's a good streaming thing?
For movies or
either one. What are you streaming, Tracy?
Yeah. What are you?
Do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Do you know what Netflix is? Can you hear us?
Hey, I have something for you.
What does Tracy Offutt watch?
And Vortex agreed with you also about the old core. Thanks again for the comment. Those that are jumping in on the live stream, feel free to leave a comment or leave any questions or stuff like that. We're just going to sit here and bullshit for a while. So,
pretty standard.
Thanks again. If you're only listening to this, then make sure to subscribe so that you get notified next time we do a live stream.
Yeah, that Narcos show that Flores recommended, that's pretty good.
Is that the one with the
he just wrote Narcos Mexico right when you said that, too. That's
funny. Is that
funny.
the one with the subtitles? Lots of subtitles?
I don't remember which one. I watched the first season of
Pablo?
Narcos, and it was good. I think it might be the second season is Mexico.
Is that the one with Pablo?
I started falling asleep.
Yeah, it's the story of Pablo.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
too much
man,
reading.
If you want to read a good book, it takes you maybe 2 days to read it, maybe a day.
Okay.
Sounds like a book to me.
Yeah,
sounds like a magazine.
Bad Karma. The guy's from here. He's from Carlsbad or Oceanside. And he tells a story about he lived down here on the beach and he had a VW bus. And all the cool guys in his apartment building were all the cool guy surfers or whatever. They wanted to go to Mexico. And he finds out later they're using him because he's the only one who's got a vehicle. So he robs a store that he works at in Coronado, sells the shit that he robs from the store, and they take this trip to Mexico in the bus. And so he ends up breaking down there and leaving his bus at Pablo Escobar's ranch.
Oh, shit.
When Pablo was a pot dealer. And he's got
Early
pictures.
Pablo.
He's got pictures of them together like, hey, I'm going to watch your van till you can come back from the States and pick it up. It's a real good read. It's easy read. But yeah, he's a local guy.
Wait, so that's a real story?
Yeah, it's his story. The surf trip from hell, Bad Karma. It all goes back to he robs the store.
Crazy.
Oh, okay.
To try to get in with the guys that are cool that turn out to be jerks that are just using him, and he ends up fucking stranded in Mexico.
So Flores wrote that there's two Narcos. One is the Pablo one, which is a good one. That's one I've seen. And then the other one is Narcos Mexico, about the Guadalajara cartel.
That's probably the one I watched.
I think I started watching that one, and I'm on my phone constantly, even while I'm watching something, because I'm always responding to somebody. So I think that one, same thing. I couldn't keep up because of the subtitles. I need to quit being addicted to my phone, set it down so I can do
I'm
something
highly
like that.
addicted to my cell phone. I really wish I wasn't.
Yeah. Have you been to Mexico? Have you gone down to Mexico?
Yeah.
Do you go quite a bit, or
I haven't gone in years.
he's gone? This is his first time going. I've never been. He didn't even need a passport to get
This
in.
is the second time I've been. So it's the third time in total I've been to Mexico.
Oh, really?
One time I went on a cruise in like 2010 to Cozumel. So it's
Oh.
you're only in like the touristy spot, It's not real.
You got to walk out of the tourist spot, though.
Second time I went last year to just down to Tijuana one night. It was like a Sunday. We had like
Hong
a Sunday
Kong Club
fun
is what
day.
everybody talks about.
Yeah, we had like a Sunday fun day on PB with a bunch of people, and it was like 7 o'clock at night, and we were hammered. And one of the kids that was like, "Hey, you want to go to Mexico?" And I'm like, "Ooh, this could totally be fun. Like what? Like adventure, right?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Yes, I want to go to
Mexico. A group of us went down to Mexico, and one of the kids spoke Spanish and knew a guy down there who happens to be like a well-known man, was what I was told. So like, not really sure what this guy does, but when we got there, we went to Hong Kong, which is like a giant strip club / brothel. And
That's what everybody talks
this
about.
dude's got like his own table with like, food and drinks and everything. Beer buckets already there, and like I can tell that like I don't.
Were
even
you like, I don't know if I should be hanging out with whoever this guy is?
I liked it because it was sketchy. I'm like, okay, like this is because that's what I'm into doing. Like getting in trouble, kind of like just
toe on the line. I want to toe the line
and totally adventure. Like that's all me right there. I'm like, okay, let's see. So I didn't talk to him because I knew I don't even want an association with you but I want to watch. So we all partied. And it was a good time. He was a nice guy. Like I said hello because it was his table. Hey, what's up, man? And he doesn't really speak very much English, and I just kind of left it at that. But Hong Kong was wild. I bought one of my friends his first hooker, which was cool.
Did you go to Adelitas?
No.
That's the place. Hong Kong is here. Adelitas is there.
It was pretty wild.
I mean, zero idea.
Which sucked because, okay, so you go into Hong Kong and it's like, there's probably 150 strippers there. It's huge. Like fucking huge. It's like a couple warehouses connected, basically. It's kind of the way I remember it. But I was also hammered. Mm-hmm. Maybe not 150. I'd say 100 at least. And there's all sorts of different stages, and most of them are hookers, I think. And then the strippers are also hookers. So you can any girl there that looks like a stripper and or a hooker, you can have sex.
So
with.
it's like Asia.
And so we've already
not
seen all
anywhere. Actually, nowhere I've been. I've actually never.
Asia and Spanish.
We've been all sorts of crazy places where like this is totally normal. Like the one girl was like banging the other girl with a double-ended dildo and like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Where is this at?
Like a shaving cream party in Hong Kong.
Oh.
So like there's
Hong Kong Club.
There's like a huge stage and they're all like banging each other and it's cool. Like it's fun to watch. It's funny, but everyone else was like, "That's fucking crazy," and I felt like a dick because I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I saw this in like literal Hong Kong." Like
when I was in Hong Kong, I
these
remember we
things.
were walking by where there was like whorehouses at. We were coming back to the hotel from the bar. We weren't stopping. But they were like pulling at us.
Yeah.
They're like grabbing at you. Like, no, I'm not
You
a
can
piece
do
of
it.
meat. Get off me.
Anthony took the dollar bill and like literally slid it in her vagina, basically. Like
That's gross.
That's out there.
Exactly. And that's why it's funny to me because I'm like, whatever. So then you go upstairs and there's a hotel connected to it.
Did you go to
and
the
you can
banana
rent
show?
a room for 30 minutes. Dude, she
Okinawa?
died before we went there. No, she
She
died while we
died?
were there.
Her daughter
We were
took
on
over.
we were on a deployment when we came back. She was dead and I never got to go. I was so butthurt.
Did you go see so you didn't go see the daughter?
No. I'm just butthurt all in general that I never went
That's
and saw
just
that.
gross. I don't think I'd want to go see.
Some of that stuff is.
Have you been?
It's beyond.
No, I never went. But yeah, so Mexico's cool. Mexico's great, and everything down there is great. And we should go more often.
Oh, so there's a place down there. I'll find out if they still have it. It's called Rodeo Medianoche.
Do you speak Spanish?
No, I know enough to get in trouble.
I don't know any. See, that's the only thing
know
stopping
any
me
either.
from going to Mexico is I don't know Spanish.
you don't need
Or
My friends know, and they're like,
I feel like I want to know
you don't need
or have
Spanish
someone
in
with me.
Tijuana, but you need Spanish past.
I don't know,
Tijuana.
man. It's sketchy.
Past Tijuana, you would know. You need to know Spanish.
Tijuana's not. It's Mexico, but it's not like Mexico.
Yeah, it's very like American. Well, it still looks like Mexico,
and it's a landing ground for all kinds of people. But there's a place, Rodeo Medianoche. So when you go in, it's like a soccer stadium looking joint, or like a giant gymnasium. And you go in, and the first half is just tables. It's bars all over the place. Giant place, right? And at midnight, they open these giant garage doors on one end of it, and the other half is a indoor rodeo thing.
Jesus Christ!
And everybody kind of empties out of here, and you go sit on the bleachers around this rodeo. And they have 3 like shoots where they let the animals or the bull riders or whatever, and they have contests. They play music, and like you're in section 1, and if you do all the crazy shit, then your bull comes out first. Your bull rider comes out first. So sit in the middle because all the girls in section 1 take their tops off and do crazy shit, to try to get to win the contest. But and then at the end, they have crazy like donkeys, and you bid to ride the donkeys, and all these drunk fuckers are getting on and getting kicked, thrown off, and there's shit everywhere because they shock the bulls to get them to come out of the.
Sounds like some redneck shit from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
but with like no rules.
It was so much fun. I left there. They finally kicked us out like at 6 a.m, and I left. I came out. I was all by myself. I came out, totally fucking blasted. Got in a fight in the parking lot. Then drove
Done that.
Standard.
Back across the border like, God, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. With one eye open, trying to keep the car in the lane. I'm like, fuck. It was so much fun.
Yeah, all that stuff is wild. Our country, we're very like taboo to a lot of things here in this country. Like Asia is very open to sex. So sex to Asia it's not a big like for girls to stand outside with like in wherever you're at, really the Philippines or Thailand, to have a sign that says like $5 blowjobs and a drink or whatever, totally normal.
Yeah, but I still think it's discouraged. Like it's not
discouraged, but it's nowhere close to how taboo. Like imagine that in America. Imagine seeing that, even that one of those.
The only thing you get like that in the U.S. is that what's that trashy place in like Reno or some shit like that? That
the Bunny Ranch.
The Bunny Ranch.
Yeah.
But I saw like it came on Showtime or HBO one time. I'm like, oh, let me see what these chicks look like. Hags. It's like, oh man. Like,
that's where what's his name had a. What's the basketball player? Basketball player that had a heart attack there not long ago.
What?
In the Bunny Ranch.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was dating Khloe Kardashian or whatever.
They fucked him to death?
I don't watch basketball.
He had an overdose on drugs.
Oh,
what?
Okay.
Or maybe he was a big basketball. Whatever basketball player.
Maybe there's some hotties out there. I don't know. But
whatever basketball player is married to or was dating one of the Kardashians.
That's not really my thing, man. There were guys. It seemed like guys on deployment. There were some guys that were looking forward to getting like a hooker.
Dude, there was. What do you mean some guys? That's like 50% of the Marines that get off that boat.
No, I don't think that many went out and got prostitutes.
Are you crazy? Oh, maybe not.
No way. Nowhere
31st
near.
Mew. You don't like in Asian Mews. That's literally all everyone did.
I did 2 Mews to Asia. I think a lot of people
been
did.
On the 31st Mew.
Oh, 31st Mew. 31st Mew.
That was literally just a booze cruise.
I thought you said that was your first Mew. I'm like, okay, get out.
I was on a Mew before you were even in the Marine Corps, Justin.
Here's the deal, sir.
Jesus Christ.
Here's the deal.
31st Mew was nothing but a booze
Dude,
cruise.
there are dudes looking for prostitutes. I was not one of those guys. I think that's pretty gross.
Younger
That's
me,
just me
yeah.
personally.
It's just I have feelings like a lot of them are sex slaves. I
was married when I was in too.
That's part of it
like
too.
Almost the entire time I was in, I was married.
Yeah, and they're sold into it either by their families or their.
That's legit too. We got those briefings before we went to Hong Kong. I don't know if we did on ours, but the first meal I went, they gave us briefings about the sex slaves and like signs you can see like on the not the front windows, but the windows in the alleyways have bars and shit on them to keep them from being able to escape. And I remember walking when they were all tugging at us and stuff, and you could look in the alleyway and see the bars on the windows, and I'm like, oh my god, dude.
So
like it's fucking real, like
it's
Jesus,
real.
it's sad, dude. It
is sad. That's why I never partook. But even like
Lamar Odom, Rango said,
that's who it is. Yeah.
Even in Okinawa, those Filipino girls that are in the bars in Okinawa, they're on a contract, right? 6 months contract.
Yeah, are they? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of them are on a contract, 8 months, 6 months, whatever. I don't know what it is now, but that's what they used to do. They bring them over on contract to dance in the bars, and then they're stuck there because they got to pay for their food, their lodging, and they end up having to be girls that get sold for their bar tab in order to make enough money.
What a crazy world.
And so I just never...
Seeing Taken, like,
wow.
I'm like, that's got to be real. There's probably some ultra-rich people bidding on, like, kids.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Or, like...
Epstein's Island.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, my God. Fuck. That's so crazy.
I can't understand it.
That's like when we went to Singapore. Everyone's like, the 4th floor's a whores. I can't wait. I never went. And I heard it was like super weird like, during the day.
Imagine being a 20-year-old kid, 21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
In a foreign country, like we're older. Imagine doing that shit. Like we did that when I was 21. Imagine being on a ship that you knew was a joke.
Just like here in the States, I'm like, strip clubs are fucking pointless.
I don't ever.
Very rarely will I ever go to, like, if it's someone's going away and they just want to go to the strip club, I'm like, all right, I'll go. But it's like, dude, I'm wasting my money here. I'd rather go to a bar and buy a chick a drink or something like that. Like, it's more.
I don't want to pay $17 for a beer.
I don't even know what they cost.
I don't ever go,
but cost either, but
I always have a good time when I go, and I never get a lap dance. I just think it's a fun environment because I know I don't want anything from them, but it's like, I guess
I got bit by one time.
What the fuck?
We were.
You get tested.
Oh my God! Here we go. Here's a story. How many people are watching right now? Right.
How did you get bit by a stripper?
So we had just gotten back from Iraq in 2009. This was it was at what's that one? Driftwood, the Dirtwood, right outside of Camp Lejeune. Yeah. So we were at my buddy's house. We were all married. Maybe one of the guys or two of the guys over there weren't, but we were at my buddy's house having like a cookout with everybody. And everyone's like, let's go to the strip club. Let's go to the strip club. And I'm like, dude, fuck that. But all the wives were like, just go, have a good time. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to go. But if everyone's going, I'm going. I'm not going to sit back here with the wives. So let's go to the strip club. Dude, it was like Sunday at like midnight or something. So, it was like the B squad or whoever was up on the stage.
Everyone had a C-section.
Oh, and I remember sitting there. We sat down and we're at the strip club. We're at the Dirtwood, the Driftwood. God rest its soul. It's gone now. I think it's platinum or some shit now.
It's funny.
But we're sitting there, and there's some nasty chick comes up on stage, some big ass chick. I'm like, look at this fat whore, blah blah blah. This fat chick. We're all half lit because we've been drinking all day. And I'm saying shit like that. She gets off stage. Another chick comes up. I'm like, oh my God, another fat skank up on the stage. Here we go. And I'm like talking to them. But I guess she can hear me.
You
and asshole. The bouncer comes over and is like, hey, man, you can't be calling them fat skanks. And I'm like, oh, my bad, dude. I'm sorry. My bad. And then like a decent looking chick came up and I was like, you know what? I'll give her $1. I'll be a gentleman. Here's your $1. And you know how they like try to kiss you on the cheek or whatever? Yeah. She went to do that and then she goes, and bit my neck like fucking super hard and goes, don't make fun of my friends. That's what you get. And I'm like, you bitch. I like grabbed my neck and I'm like, you bitch. And
she's
like,
fat bitch.
She was actually good looking. She's like, stop. I'm going to get in trouble. She
doesn't need to know that.
She's like, I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. You bit me. Fuck. Dude, I went home and my old lady saw this big ass bite mark after I got back from the strip club on my neck. She's like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You need to go get an STD checked. Like, just like super pissed, obviously, which I can understand. But that was like my time. Oh, and then when we left, I guess so after she got off stage, another chick came up. I'm like, look at this fat skank. And they kicked us out. And then we go out to the parking lot. And all the fatties were in the parking lot and tried to fight us.
Oh, shit.
So we're in this parking lot at the fucking Driftwood, about to get in a fight with the strippers, and then we got out of there. So that was my story about the strip clubs. I hate strip clubs, man.
They're not.
They're no good.
I'll always go, like, if someone's like, hey, do you...
Last time we went was when I was with you, actually, for one of the guys' going away party. Farrell or somebody.
That's the last time I went, too. In Oceanside. I have a picture. We took a picture in there, I think. But yeah, that's I never have gone to one since then.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
So there's a classic line that came up. Vortex Rex 2001.
Yep.
It's like, guys always say, oh, this one's different. She's not like the rest of
them. Oh, when they're
them.
dating strippers? Yeah. Did you know anyone that dated a stripper?
No, did you?
I had a buddy.
I did.
In Okinawa. Same thing, you go to the buy me, drink me girl place. And I liked it there because it was cheap. You could get freaking blasted. By 2100, you could be rolling in the gutter drunk.
It's 9 p.m.
Yeah.
For you civilians.
But he was always, buy me, drink me with the girl. And he's buying her a jacket and this and that. And same shit, right? Like, oh, she's different. Bro. She's not different. You're just a pawn
Yeah.
You want to buy her jacket? Knock yourself out. They're like $9.
When
or whatever,
dudes
but-
have that going on, though, there's like a chemical thing in their brain
Yeah.
where you can't talk sense into them.
Yeah, like
It's just like one of those things you can tell them, like, hey, you're being an idiot, you're being played, and they're like, whatever, man, I don't care. I think she loves me.
yeah. She wants me to take her away and rescue her. Who was the guy? Me and Luna were talking about it at the ANGLICO ABC course grad. So we used to have a joke, me and him, right? We'd always work together on everything. But if it was some screaming wife or something on the phone, he'd be like, hey, bro.
How often did you get called by like wives as a sergeant major? Were they actually calling the command as much as
Yeah,
people
you'd
talk
have
about?
to field not a lot, but there's a few times you have to field that.
Do you throw them to the fro? You're like, that's not my
Well-
that's not my role. Hey, fro, got you on speed dial.
It depends. So
Family
this girl
readiness
comes up, we're getting ready to leave. We come back from somewhere, and it's like 17:30. We're getting ready to leave, and so he gets out of the car first, and this chick runs up to him and starts crying and my phone. I got proof he's cheating on me, and he's like, whoa, hey, Sergeant Major, somebody needs to talk to you. I see this happening. And I'm like, maybe I can just start the car and drive away.
You're like, I'm heading to the PX. Anybody need it?
Yeah. But I get out and she's got screenshots of.
Was this at Anglico?
Yeah, it's at Anglico.
Okay, I know who this was.
So, and she was a former stripper, crack lady, crack.
I know who this was.
Oh, I think I know.
I was going to
I
text
know
you.
who
He was
this
on your
is.
team.
No.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
So she's got screenshots of him with the other girl and their text messages and shit, you know. And I'm like, hold on. Before you show me or tell me anything, I have to let you know that I'm obligated to take action on whatever it is. So if you're mad at him and you're telling on him because you're mad at him, once I see the evidence, I'm going to have to take action on him.
That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people don't think that's a reality.
That's the shit
they
that
think
people
sexual
didn't have.
assault stuff and everything gets swept under the rug, but I think a lot of people are like you, where it's like, if you tell me about it, tell me whatever you want to tell me.
Yeah,
it's going on. So what happened after that? Sorry to interrupt.
Whatever happens to your person is going to happen to them, and then we're going to hold them accountable. Even if I love them to death, I'm holding them accountable. They're gonna. There's the rule. There's the line. You cross the line. So, anyways, I knew they lived in base housing. I knew she was the mooch off of him, and or he was mooching off her too, I guess. But, anyways, I was like, hey, before you do that, understand that I'm gonna have to take action, and he's gonna get in trouble. He's gonna get busted. You're gonna lose your income. You're not gonna be living in base housing. I know he's living with his girlfriend out in town or whatever you're about to tell me, whatever story you're gonna tell me. You're not going to have the things that you have right now.
Like this is going to affect you.
Yeah.
Also.
And she hesitated, but she's an emotional woman. So she wanted to continue.
Some people will say that
Yeah.
you were trying to. Some people will try to say that you're trying to talk her out of even telling you, and that's the wrong thing to do. What do you say to that?
It is the wrong thing to do to talk her out of it, but I wanted her to think about it first because they're emotional. So
I guess it's how you approach that conversation, right?
I mean, yeah. Think about this. I have a buddy his wife calls the cops on him, or used to call the cops on him, on a semi-regular basis because she was mad at him, right?
Dude, if I had a wife that called the cops on me on a semi-regular basis,
So
hey, Steve, it's me again.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like, all right, you're acting in emotion, and you're calling the cops on your husband, or you're telling Sergeant Major or First Sergeant or whatever. You're telling because you're mad at him right now.
Real cops or PMO? No offense to my
this was out in
PMO.
town. Yeah, no, this was out in town.
Real
This was
cops are crossing guards.
No, that's not.
I'm just kidding.
But
they pulled me over.
You have to stop them sometimes. Like, hey, don't just crush him because you're mad at him, and then tomorrow your life sucks, and you might work it out.
That's true.
Let's slow down.
That's a.
You know what? If you want to bury him, I can shoot him and bury him in Casey Springs tomorrow. We don't have to do it today at 17:30.
Yeah.
See, and that's why I always thought in the very beginning when I was single, I was like, I want it, and comes back to it. I always thought, I'm like, I'll just marry either a stripper or a porn star. Like, no heat on Lacey, but as single, I'm like, well, it'd be great because as a stripper, They're not like not real people. They're not the real people, but they're
You're
not
terrible, bro.
So you
They're
have
not-
talked about this before, where you call them not real people.
They're not real people, but like they don't.
You're a horrible person.
I'm obviously just kidding, but they're whatever. But so they have like their friends who are also the same, right? So if I get married to them, I don't have to really care about them. They're gonna be totally down to bang, and usually strippers all have hot friends. So, and I'm sure she's not gonna care if I bang her hot friends because she's a stripper.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, and
I don't think that's true.
What's that?
I think even porn stars have boyfriends, and they don't want their boyfriends to fuck other dudes.
Yeah, but there's
Or
probably not all.
chicks.
I could probably find one that would be cool with that. And
Oh, yeah.
either way,
Oh,
either way.
yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I'll get paid more. I'll just have them sign a prenup because they're strippers. And so that was like and when I first joined the Marine Corps, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do.
and this is how you think when you're 19.
And exactly. That's what I think back at it. I'm like, yeah, when I was 21 years old, I'm like, that sounds totally normal to me.
I had a kid in my shop. It's like you get these kids, and he was 19 and he was going to get married and all this stuff. And I'm like, don't do it, dude. I'm like, dude, I know you think it's the right thing. You love her. You guys love each other. I'm like, wait a couple years, man. I'm telling you 100% you're going to get divorced. You're not going to last. You're 19. You can't even go to the bars yet. You don't even know what that's like yet.
Yeah.
You know? And, dude, not even 2 years later, she's got a kid and they're getting divorced, and he's getting out of the Marine Corps as like a Lance Corporal. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I cannot imagine.
I told you, man.
My mom had us when we were
19.
My mom and my sister when she was 17 or 18. They got married when they were 19. I think my dad was like 22. I'm like, back in the day, people got married quick as fuck. They were popping out kids, and it was like, I'm married. Like, you watch Marvelous Miss Maisel, right? I know that's older than my mom, but women used to just live for men. Like, they didn't really have much of a...
They were homemakers.
Yeah, they didn't really have like a future. They had a future, but it was with the man's future, whatever the man, you know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, it's not all the way true though. I mean, it's crazy not to have their
me
own
sit up for
interests and
this.
stuff.
Okay.
But who's the most important female in your life? Your mother, right? Until you get married and move on. That's a pretty damn big job, man. They do all the finances.
Being a homemaker is definitely
keep-
underrated.
No,
parent,
for sure. I'm not
So-
discrediting it. I'm saying that's just
I know you're not.
that was their inevitable. They were gonna.
And
That's what they're gonna do.
But that's kind of how we're supposed to do it. The man's supposed to win, go
Is it,
out and
though?
win bread.
Well,
and-
I've learned in college that
yeah, there you go. That communist college.
I think that's how we were supposed to do it up until there was a point in time where we no longer were like cave people. Like, everybody can do their own thing and have their own job. Because now
it
less
depends
people
on the
are having-
society.
Now less
different
people are having kids. Like,
different societies have different roles for men and women.
I agree with you. Women, they need to have, if they want to have a job or whatever. But overall, and this is kind of one of those statistic things, homemakers are happier than professionals.
I don't think that's true.
Well, you get
Well,
sold that.
you gotta think about what the homemaker individual is doing.
So, like, if you were to take Lacey and I right now and you were to move our environment, and now we lived out in the wilderness, obviously we would automatically change to where she stays at home, she's dealing with that shit, I'm out trying to find food and shit like that and come back. That's where it
Why
was
is that
the total-
obvious?
Because I'm a man. I'm bigger. I can hunt better than she.
How do you know she's not a better hunter than you
She
are?
could be a better hunter than me, but I am more. I have
What'd she shoot
stronger
on the
than her, I
range?
am
She's got the
more-
highest range score. I know you guys have
Motherfucker.
compared.
I shot like a 328 one time. 327 I think was my highest range score.
I remember my first range time.
Well, speaking of like a 350 is perfect. I think No, it was a 337 because 350 was perfect.
I want to see your fucking DD-214.
I'll show you.
I want
Because
verification.
Isaiah shot a 338,
Anything
my
under
roommate.
340 is not acceptable.
and I was like, God damn,
Did you shoot over at 340?
that's incredible.
Really? Wow.
I wasn't the best one.
Were you
That's
on a
hard as fuck
marksmanship
to do.
team?
Yeah, I was on
Oh, okay.
but I wasn't the best shooter. I was the most mediocre shooter. There was guys that were cleaning like 347.
When I was at maintenance
On the
battalion,
regular.
we had a kid in my platoon. He was a corporal, and he shot average 345, and he was on the shooting team in Okinawa.
Damn.
But the dude, that's all. I mean, he could do that, and he could work on trucks, but you couldn't have a conversation with the guy because he was crazy conspiracy theorist, dude. He was listening to Alex Jones, I think, back in 2007.
I feel like Alex Jones, a lot of things he says though come to fruition. You're like, oh,
Some
shit.
stuff, but he's still fucking crazy.
I think Alex Jones is crazy, but I
This
think
dude-
he's crazy because of all the shit that's like, if all that stuff happened to me, I'd be fucking crazy too. I wouldn't trust anybody.
This dude showed up to work. He had a on his car. He had a 911 was an inside job, and politicians like their peasants unarmed. Bumper stickers on his car. And the platoon sergeant's like, yeah, you're going to take those off.
Damn.
The 911 is an inside job.
Base?
Yeah. He was he was a super. And literally anything you said to him, if you said anything to him, it turned into some kind of conspiracy theory conversation. And it was like, Jesus Christ, dude. I asked you if you wanted a burrito.
you know what about burritos? They're not even real.
You know where those beans come from?
Yeah. The tortillas aren't even real.
Dude, it's crazy when you meet someone like that. This is back in the day, too. This is in 2007.
But politicians do like their peasants unarmed, so that's true.
I do agree
I guess
with
so,
that.
yeah. Probably.
Let's go back. Hang on. Let's go back to this caveman thing. I want to stick on this a bit here.
What caveman thing?
So
the roles? The gender roles?
If I was to just get injected into the woods, I think that biologically, I think that I am meant to be some sort of a hunting machine. Like, I'm the man.
Okay.
I believe that that's how it is. And then there's probably women out there. Oh, I could do it. I understand. There's totally women that could probably hunt better than me that can do it. But the majority of people, I'm sure that a large percentage of dudes compared, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what you have to go off. You have to go off the majority.
But I think historically you saw men hunting and women farming
that's
and taking care of a family.
And I think that in my role, I think that if you look at me and Lacey's obviously gonna, like that.
She's the hunter,
right?
Obviously.
Exactly. I always.
Can you imagine her packing out a
I
mule
tell her
or
that all the time.
Like an elk?
I'm like, you would be at home weaving baskets and picking berries. And the thing is, I've never hunted. I'm not like a big hunter, but I know that if I had to do it, that's why I should go out and at least hunt once so I can learn how to skin things properly and like dress a deer. But again, that's in different. Like,
I'm surprised you didn't, coming from the Midwest and like small town.
My dad didn't really. All my friends, a lot of my friends did, but
guns.
Like my dad wasn't really into baseball or basketball. Like watching football or anything. So I never really grew up watching sports. We watched hockey, but yeah. So if you put me in this environment,
to watch, though.
I think that like nowadays women don't have. It's not a necessity. Not everybody's. People don't believe that they're born to like procreate, have a kid, and like take out.
Fewer women are having children.
Exactly. So that which
that's
makes
because we have
fewer
birth
women
control
sitting at home
and Plan B.
And I think that people have kind of noticed like you don't have to have a kid. Like you don't have to have a kid.
You don't have to. But also, women have been sold this bill of goods where you have to be a professional woman and you have to do all in order to. So it used to be
that's success.
If you were a good mother and you took care of your home and you took care of your kids and you did those things, that was success. And now women have been sold this. I think it's a bill of goods.
I think we downplay like motherhood.
Hang on, let me hear this out.
You're right. So societies
birthing a child
60s have they're just a homemaker. Dude, that's the most important job ever. Of all the jobs, I don't care what we do. I don't care what the professional lady lawyer does.
The problem with that job is though it's temporary.
Yes.
And then it's like, what do they do after?
So yeah, once your kids are grown, then you go get your master's degree or whatever. That's understandable. But I think women have been sold a bill of goods that they're less of a person if they're a homemaker.
I don't think that they're sold a bill of goods. I think that it's like, oh shit, I can do whatever I want to. Life isn't just about you going to work and me taking care of the home.
But see,
it doesn't have to be like that. It could be whatever you want now.
The mentality conspiracy theory, that's exactly the mentality they built in you.
But isn't that what you want?
If a woman decides to be a homemaker,
I see what you're saying.
She's less of a person.
She's going to think society's going to look down on her saying, "Oh, you're just a stay." And that's what stay-at-home moms always do. That I'm just a mom. I'm like, that's just one. That's just gotta suck.
That comment right there.
Yeah, don't downplay.
I'm just a mom.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure. I think it's downplayed super hard, and I think it's weird that. And that's the same spectrum on the other side where feminists are so. You get those feminists that are so crazy. It's like, dude, chill out. It's cool to be a girl. It's cool to be. I'll open the door for you.
It sucks
cool.
for the. It
like
sucks.
you don't have to lose that feminism to you to be a feminist. Like it's like Lacey can play both cards super good, and she's not the one that's like if there's a scary noise outside, she looks at me and I get up and I go see what it is because I'm the man of the house and I should do that. And that's I wouldn't expect Lacey to get up and go check what you know what I'm saying.
You know what sucks is for the good like military wives. that are like good wives,
Yeah.
like good, take care of the kids, like do everything right.
Yeah.
Like, because they all just get
They're
lumped in
still the
together. Everyone's like,
dependent.
dependents.
Yeah.
Fucking dependopotamus.
Yeah. So
Those are like
it's
legit
crazy.
homemakers, you know, when you're gone
Yeah.
for 7 months or a year and they got to like take care of everything. It's like,
Yeah, my wife put a water heater in our house.
I can come take a look at it. This is incorrect. Who the hell put this in?
Hey, that shit lasted 10 years. I'm good with it. And I get home, I'm like, rock on, a new water heater. You know?
Nice.
But that's the kind of shit they had to do.
so Tracy, tell us about your Central America time or your South America time that you kind of glossed over like it was nothing.
That wasn't that exciting.
That was in CA. No big deal.
Yeah, we did one normal trip to Honduras, work with those guys, and then we did one.
What do you mean normal? What does normal mean?
That used to be a regular thing. We do operations in Central America.
I know
Why?
Recon sends guys down there
Yeah.
to work against the drug cartels.
Oh man, there was a recon.
They're on joint
unit with us.
elements.
All muscle dudes.
It's like Recon, DEA.
Yeah,
I think CIA has dudes down there. Yeah, obviously.
sun
they do.
tanning and
Doing their
sharpening their
thing.
knives.
That's nutty. That'd be so crazy.
A
to
lot
be
of them
one
are
those
into
guys.
drugs. A lot of them go down there and end up get into coke and stuff like that.
There's
Did you hear about that Green Beret that got caught? It was like a master sergeant or something like that, bringing like a couple kilos back on military aircraft.
No shit.
He was coming from South America or Central America working on one of those units that was doing a rotation down there.
How did he get caught?
I don't know. Someone turned him in, and then everyone was like,
Ooh.
well, what if all the memes started coming out on like the soft pages? It was like, if only people knew about like the DEA agents and this and other stuff. And it was basically like, well, you're going to burn one of our dudes. You know, everyone down here is doing
shit.
drugs. And so it's like one of those things like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Crazy.
Imagine
There's a
that.
song
Were you doing
about
coke
that.
down there? Were you doing coke down there while you were down there?
No.
Have you ever done cocaine?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I never have.
Have you?
I smoked it once, I think.
Whoa,
I
that's called
think
crack.
No. So what happened was
different.
I didn't even know.
That's crack cocaine.
I came back to my place and my buddies were getting ready to smoke a bowl, and I think they put some coke on top of it. And I didn't know, and they know I don't smoke, but one of them was like, hey, because I walked in like, oh, we're going to smoke a bowl. Cool. And they were like, here you go, buddy.
So,
But I don't even remember being affected by it. So I tell people, no, I've never done it, but I guess unintentionally I have.
so
done it
coke's
once.
an upper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't get a buzz off it. You're just awake.
So
I have no idea.
Allegedly, it makes you feel like. I'm just kidding. I've tried it, and
Dabbled.
it just kind of makes you feel like very awake and very like ready to go. Very
Like meth.
if you want to
Did you
go to
see the
Mexico on a
Office
Sunday,
episode where
you're
that
going
one
off
chick did
Mexico
it?
on a Sunday.
Did you see The Office, or not The Office, Mad Men, where the one chick did it, the redhead? And she's like, oh, I feel like I just got really good news.
I can't remember. You've seen it like 3 times.
Yeah. I've watched it too many times.
That's kind of how it feels, honestly. But the crash is hard, so it sucks.
Yeah.
So like once the party's over, and it's like fuck. And the next day you just feel like
I've heard
garbage.
ecstasy's like that too.
I've never tried ecstasy, but you just
Because
you
your
don't-
brain's like
it's a
bleeding.
rich man's drug. Like I've never like snorted a line because I'm too scared to do any of that. I've tried it just like off a key, like a little bump. So I've never done. I'm too afraid to do too much or anything because I have like a respect for drugs. Like I've tried different drugs and I got to maintain like a respect for them because I don't ever want to get like lost in it.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
I'm like addictive, so I would probably, if I enjoyed it too
Yeah.
much, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
I just don't have a
Yeah,
very
that's
addictive
the
personality.
downside.
Fuck yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah,
Especially if you could use it before your workdown.
yeah.
You'd be like,
I know a guy in the Marines one day. I saw him. Where was I? Can't remember where it was. And I know that he had it in his water bottle shaken up. I was already
He
out.
put Coke in his water bottle?
He's like, I just got to finish it off. He was on the treadmill. You know who it is.
Do I?
Yeah. And I was like, you're literally going to fucking die. Your heart's going to explode. Like, you probably shouldn't do that.
I never thought doing drugs in the Marine Corps would be a good idea.
No.
There's a couple times I went back home and like some of my buddies were smoking weed and I'm like,
Fuck no.
man, that'd be cool, but
'Cause
I
that's
know
like
I'm getting a drug
That's like an
test.
other than honorable, right?
Yeah.
yeah, you could get
it
OT.
can be.
You're
Yeah.
fucked.
I knew a dude who got popped on a piss test for Coke and they let him stay in. He got
No
NJP.
way.
Company level NJP. Okay, I got a story
Wonder
for
if he
you.
was a
How
good
have I
dude.
never told? Maybe I've never told this story. This is another really good one. This is when I was at 2nd Maintenance Battalion. Lance Corporal Kramer, back in the day, we had this PFC, private PFC. I think it was a PFC. Supermoto showed up, probably weighed $130, ran like, 1830, probably 3 mile, like high and tight, screaming high and tight, like just supermoto dude. And he got in trouble for something. I don't remember what it was. He ended up being one of those dudes who always got in trouble and always like, oh, I know I fucked up. I'm so sorry. One of those guys. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. And he fucked up with something. I don't remember what it was. And then we had a piss test, and he got popped for coke. And this was in 2007, 2008, maybe. So it was like, dude, the war was going on. There were 2 wars going on. And I think it was like easier for them to be like, hey. So it was literally a company level NJP. I think a warrant officer did the NJP. And he got like 30 days, 30 and 30 or something like that. Maybe 60. Whatever the max is. Is it 30?
40. Company is 30.
So, yeah. So 30 days.
Yeah,
so, you got 30 days restriction. And when I was at 2nd Maintenance Battalion at the time in the barracks, they had the restriction room, which was part of the OOD's hut. You walked into the OOD room and you go in the back and there's like a mini squad bay with a couple bunk beds.
Yeah, that's
and
the
you
way
had
to
to
do it.
you had to sleep in there and stay in there all the time.
That sounds fucking terrible.
So this kid, so that happened, and it was like one of those things like, hey, don't stay out of trouble, and this goes away. Like, you'll stay in the Marine Corps. Like, everyone's like, dude, he's got busted for coke. He's staying in. Like, this is crazy. Anyway, he starts fucking around with some chick in the restricted barracks who's also on restriction. She's like a sergeant, and she's married.
Oh, man.
Holy fuck, who is this guy?
So then he gets in trouble for this, right? So then they find out about this, and he gets in trouble. And then we're like, man, dude, you're fucked. Like, he's still coming to work, obviously, And we're like, you're fucked, bro. And then the next day he comes in, he's like, hey, I felt a lump in my testicle. We're like, what? Like, go to medical or whatever. He goes to medical, and they're like, hey, man, you might have testicular cancer.
Holy shit.
This is like a 19 or 20-year-old kid, right? So they send him to the Naval Hospital. They're like, hey, dude, we got to take your testicle out to do a biopsy.
Oh, fuck.
So they remove his testicle. He removes the testicle, find out it's not a tumor.
Oh, Jesus.
He didn't have cancer. While he's recovering, he gets his 10-day letter. So they as soon as they're like, oh, you're medically good now? You're done with the surgery? Hey, we took his nut. Kick him out.
We took his
10
nut.
days after getting his testicles removed, one of his testicles removed, they kicked him out.
So can they put him back?
Probably
I think
not.
you can get a prosthetic
Probably get a fake one. Yeah.
I think you can get a prosthetic
but you want
fake
one
ball.
That'd be
works.
so weird to have one ball. It'd be so strange.
Dude, I was dude, you fucked up. They took your nut.
Remember
kicked you out.
Do you remember Poindexter?
Yeah.
He got a 10-day letter too, and I was like, damn.
For those that don't know, the 10-day letter, well, you explain it. You're a sergeant major. Former.
I don't remember. 10-day letter was like the last thing before they kick you out.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you got 10 days.
This is your final paperwork,
It gives you
right?
your date of when your final day
Yeah.
is, because you're kind of free floating until then.
When you would kick someone out, or when someone would get kicked out as a sergeant major, like, what's your responsibility? Just to take them to the gate? Do you have to give them a place to stay off base?
No, you don't have to take care
You
of
have to
them
help
once
them
they're
with
done.
anything?
No.
I knew a guy who said he
That's
literally
fucking
took a
crazy.
kid to the gate and was like, get out of my car.
Yeah, no, that was the standard practice. You drop them off. There was a guy, though, in ANGLICO. I forget his name. He was a guitar dude. But he got kicked out, and then it was like a Wednesday. And he's like, I'm going through the barracks, it's end of the day. I'm walking through the barracks. And, what the fuck are you doing here, bitch? He's like, I'm going to stay here for 2 weeks till I find a place. That's not how it works, fucker.
That's not how this works.
And I think it was Baby Rod.
I wonder who it was.
He pulled his truck up, and I'm like, hey, dude, load this bitch up, everything you own in the back of that truck. And I gave Rod $20. I'm like, hey, drop him off at Pogus Gate.
Holy
Pogus
shit.
Gate, too. That's on the freeway. There's nothing for like 5 miles
fuck.
either way.
Yeah, so with all his shit, and he had everything.
Damn.
He had not prepped to leave at all.
Well, that's his own fault then, man. Fuck.
But I did think better of it, because after he came back, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go take that fool to the bus stop. Because if he gets hit by a truck,
Fuck him.
on the side of the
Fuck
freeway.
him.
Fuck him. Shouldn't have fucked
then-
up. You got kicked out of the Marine Corps. You have to do a lot to get kicked out.
No, that's how
Yeah.
we think. But when you're in that as a sergeant major, you have to think about, what's it going to do to my boss?
Yeah, fuck him.
So I had
fuck
to think,
the boss.
Hey,
No, not really.
I don't want the CO answering questions for why this kid stepped in front of a semi outside of Pogus Gate the day he got kicked
I think
out.
the dude, when I said the dude left the guy at the gate at Camp Lejeune, he was supposed to take him to the bus stop.
No.
And I think they told a sergeant, like, hey, take him out to the bus stop. And he was like, all right, cool, good to go.
Yeah.
But he was a shitbag that just, like, made everyone's life more miserable than he had to. And he's like, yeah, good to go. Took him to the gate, was like, get the fuck out. And then did a U-turn and came back
you know how
in.
bad
No, that
would
was
suck, too?
standard practice for most of the time until I was a first sergeant. Then I started actually taking people to the bus stop.
Back in the day, they used
Imagine
to drum
that
people
shit,
out.
dude. What?
Then they used to march them off base.
Brum, brum.
Get the fuck out of here.
They'd put you in
You
formation
get
and
kicked out
march
of
the
Marine
dude off
Corps?
base.
You got to get marched off base?
That's what I've been told. I don't know.
That
That's
was-
old Corps
yeah,
shit.
that's way
How
back in the
fucking
1800s
terrible
and shit.
would that? I would just walk.
No, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
back in the 1800s.
Imagine being, being in the Marine Corps in the 1800s. What did we wear in the 1800s in the Marine Corps? Like
Wool.
alphas?
nothing comfortable, I don't think.
Wool.
Could you imagine fighting in that shit?
Fighting in your alphas.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Core frame's all fucked up.
Get a new pair. Look, I'm scratched. I know we were fighting over in that corn pasture or that cow
Yeah.
pasture yesterday, but
I think about that all the time. I think about just life in general in the 1800s.
we were watching these old on YouTube. They have the
Yes.
old, like, you can watch videos from the 1900s where people just set up a camera and started filming. And it was like, it's just weird to see those people walking around and thinking
Just-
about, like, what
what
are
was-
they dealing
What
with?
was the
Like,
oldest one we watched? Like 1817 or like,
1880 nah,
was it not
was,
that old? 18,
I don't know. It was pretty old.
Filthy old. And I'm like, imagine that was, and you wouldn't know any better, but looking back at it now, you're like, dude, life had to have sucked. Everyone wore like big ass top hats and wool shit, and like
They were just a lot stronger.
humans just looked a lot more like leathery, a lot more like beat up from the like,
They were all 100.
Well, they're working, man.
yeah. And they're all like 34, 35, 40 years old.
I think then they were surviving.
yeah.
You know, now we're like enjoying life.
Again, that's the difference.
Our
now.
poor
Well,
people bitch about being poor on their iPhone.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
On the
or
internet.
even me with my Android. You know, they bitch about it on their Android.
We
if they're
are
poor, I guess.
so freaking spoiled. Even our experiences, like in third world countries, I am so grateful. Every
Going
day
to
I'm like,
Djibouti will
yeah.
change your perspective. Driving around in Djibouti.
watching somebody carry a radiator fluid jug on their head
Yeah.
to go get water from the French Foreign Legion pump.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
I think that that's the issue is a lot of people haven't seen that kind of stuff.
that
Yeah.
is
Because every
exactly
day
the
I wake
problem.
up, I'm like, dude, I'm so, if anything's even if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, still this day is a million times better than any, how lucky I was to be born in America.
But you
For
can't,
one-
you can't relay that to somebody because the worst experience someone's ever had is the worst experience they've ever had.
Yeah, but some
That-
people,
and that's the problem.
they should
It's hard
be-
to put it in perspective if it's something they've never even.
But they should be wise enough, and I know people are stupid, but people should be intelligent enough to realize how good they have it. We
Yeah.
live in the top. So as I'm driving up here for the podcast, there's a big old caravan blocking the whole street, honking their horns, and they had, cancel rent.
Oh yeah,
No.
there was I could hear them chanting.
Oh, Jesus.
Cancel rent.
University Avenue. They were. I think they were going down to the 8. I almost sent you guys a text like, "Hey, traffic might get stopped because I can hear them."
It was
This is what
asinine.
living in the city gets you.
And
Protest.
they're all, they're all driving Subarus and hippie cars or whatever, but they got all these signs that cancel rent, power of the people.
End America, like all that shit.
And I'm like, dude, how do you get paid? You get paid by somebody, right? Have you ever got a job from somebody poorer than you?
No.
Why are you trying to fucking eat the rich?
I love people
wrong?
telling people how they should run their business. It's like
Blows my
start a
mind.
business and run it like that, dude.
Yeah.
Start a successful business and run it like that.
Yeah.
Pay people $15 an hour. Give them the best health care ever. Like all the time off, 6 months off, a year off for women
what?
that had a kid. Do it. Start the business.
Yeah.
If it's that easy, I mean, if it's something that can be done, then do it. And it's like,
drives me
oh,
nuts.
Yeah, they're just
it's like
so
the reality is there's like other issues like not all business there are shitty business owners. I think everyone can agree on that. There's some
There's-
shitty people out there running businesses, but there's a lot of like good business owners that
There's
just
shitty people everywhere. But think about the guy who's canceled the rent. Okay, I took my
Yeah.
money and I bought this building and I'm renting these apartments out so that I can have an income. But you can't pay your rent because coronavirus gayness or whatever. And now I'm supposed to suffer?
Yeah.
I still got to pay the mortgage on the building.
I'm of the belief, and I got called a fascist. Someone called me a fascist for saying it, but I'm of the belief that you have no right to continue to live wherever it is you're from forever. You know what I'm saying? If you don't own the land, if you're a renter, then that you're renting. That's the shitty part about it. It's like that sucks.
There's a commercial I hear all the time that's like, how would you feel if you were, and that's your hometown, and you can no longer afford it, and you were ripped away? And I'm like,
I can live out here, but I don't like my like lifestyle out here, so I'm considering moving back home.
people, it's so strange.
It's like
People
one of those
think
things you have to have a conversation with yourself.
People think they're what's entitled. Oh,
What did you just do?
I just hit something.
Did it unplug? Can you plug it back in?
I can still hear you.
Oh, hold on. Oh, there you go. Let me make sure everything. Are we all good, Tracy?
I cannot hear you anymore.
Hold on. You're all right.
Damn.
No, it's all good. I can still hear you on. Tracy, go ahead and talk. Hello. No.
Oh, I fucked it up.
It's this one.
I fucked it up.
Test it again.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I lost headphones and everything.
Is it red on yours?
Oh, yeah, I got red now.
Mine's red as well.
Why is it not playing through, though?
Check this doodad.
No, it's in.
No, it's on. Yeah, just cut us out.
Oh, damn it.
Give me a second.
Plug right there.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Now, what happened? Well, let me set this down. We're hearing something different than what the people are hearing. So people can hear me and you, Michael, but they can't hear.
You can hear me?
No. But I'm saying other people can hear us. What's going on right now is that never mind. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain it. For our live people, they can hear me right now. Let me fix this real quick.
Man, what a bummer. I'm sorry.
All right, you fix that. I'm going to pee.
Oh, my Lanta.
My Lanta.
He's out of here. Well, I better smoke a J about it. I'll do my part. My zipper's been down this whole time? Oh, there I am. I'm in.
Has it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm back.
Cool.
No one has told me about... Oh, and there I go.
Hold on.
How has no one said anything?
I didn't even notice.
Oh, my Lanta. Surprised
Where
you
were
can
the
smell
people
my
back
musk.
home? All right, now you can hear me, right?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Now I just got to make sure the people here... Is his flashing? Can you pull his microphone this way?
Oh, boy.
So anyway, what were we talking about? I don't even remember now.
His is on steady. Should it be flashing?
Unplug it from the bottom and then plug it back in for me. All right, plug it back in.
Okay, it's in.
Oh, it messed up all of ours, huh?
Amateur hour at the Apollo with me. Sorry.
Did you get it running?
We had it back up and then something happened.
Anyone need an ice cube?
I'm good.
No, I'm
didn't even
okay.
drink all mine.
I didn't hear either one of you. Anybody need ice cube?
No, like
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Nope.
Check.
I'm in.
Yeah, but I think the only issue here right now is that people can't hear. Oh, never mind. Tracy's mic's working too. Cool. All right, we're back on.
Okay, we're back on.
We're back. I'll cut that piece out, I guess, from the audio.
No, it's
version.
live. You might as well keep it.
For the audio people.
Tracy, don't you touch
They're
it.
struggling. This is my on-the-go online learning. So Vortex is all over the chat tonight. He asked us, iron sights or optics for rifle qual? Which, in your opinion, is
Iron
more
sights.
legit?
Legit would be iron sights. I qualled
Yeah.
I don't know.
my first
I mean,
2 times I qualled iron sights, and I feel like it's more, like anything with an optic is just helping you. So I feel like if you could qual the iron sights, it's kind of,
So I think
you got to be real good.
I can't hear you, Tracy.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me now?
No, hold on. Give me a second. Give me.
I also cannot.
All right. Talk.
How about now?
There he is.
Yeah, I can hear you.
He's in. Oh, I'm out now.
No, I can hear you.
No, I
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through the mic.
I can't hear me in my own headphones.
Hold on. How about now?
There, now I can hear me.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
He's in. He's getting good at this. He's good.
Yeah. Look
Would
at
you like some more pop?
If anyone that's online has any audio issues, if they can hear any audio issues, let me know. So here's my opinion on iron sights and optics. One, how do they do drill with the optics on there? That's kind of weird, right?
No, we didn't have optics on
No,
ours.
because so they had to have changed the drill manual, right?
No, maybe they just change it to where you get optics for qual and then you take it off.
I know they were marching around with them from what I saw.
The problem with taking them off, as I remember, was you get them BZO'd to the weapon, and then you take them off for, say, a ceremony, and you put them back on. You got to shoot again and zero them down to the weapon again, right?
But
I
you
don't know.
BZO every time you go to the range every year. You re-BZO anyway.
Right, for that. But say you're BZO'd, you've already shot for this year. Take the optics off, do a ceremony, put them back on, and then go do a shooting fight.
Like a shooting range, you mean?
Like to a fight. Like, hey, we need everybody to get on a plane right now, you know.
Oh, you mean like for readiness
So you're
wise?
not prepared.
Ah.
So I think that...
Because
So-
what's minimum prepare? 48 hours, 72 hours? What's
Depends
like
on what level.
But even then, so you'd
We
have
had guys on 48-hour standby at ANGLICO and 96-hour.
Yeah,
Which
you'd have to
maybe-
have a plan.
yeah, maybe they would
I'm
just
gonna
never
do a
take it off.
ceremony. We're taking all the optics off for the ceremony. Then the next week, we're going to go shoot everybody. Have a plan in
Maybe
place
there's
to make up for the need to remove the optics.
Maybe they use different rifles. Or
My
maybe
take
they-
is that you should shoot iron sights in boot camp, and then when you hit the fleet, you should learn.
Yeah.
That way you have that base knowledge. That's that base
So,
knowledge.
you kind of are screwed if you don't know how to use
we
iron sights.
We
huh?
had backup sights on our sights when I had an ACOG on my advisor team. So if like you're like in Afghanistan, like if you're something happened to your ACOG, you could take it off and just flip up your little iron sight, that little stick one that you could get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just had to BZO that too. I think you should know both because let's be honest, even if you only do ACOG, 98% of the people don't even know how to adjust an ACOG correctly.
So
They listen to the idiots on the range that tell you how to do something and they tell you never to adjust it, Kentucky windage. Like it's a scope. I mean,
you can zero that thing into a...
if you know what you're doing with that, you can do a lot more than what the Marine Corps teaches you. But on their defense, they are having to teach like thousands of people a day, or bring thousands of people a day through the range.
I haven't been on the range forever.
I agree with you. That's the way it
miss
should
shooting.
be. Is you should learn iron sights on a standard rifle range. 200, 300, 500 meters, right?
Because that's the basics.
And then
What's going on right there?
there should be a second part where you shoot with the ACOG, and then you do all the rest of the shooting drills. But what like the Army did for a while, they eliminated the basic part of it. You got the classes, right? You got the classes, marksmanship classes. But the first time you shot, I was doing this with the A1, you shot at the unknown distance range in combat shooting positions.
Yeah.
So basically all you had to do...
I think the Army still does that.
And so that's the problem.
Unknown ranges. Unknown range.
Unknown ranges are good, but that should be the second half. The first half
Yeah.
should be building the foundation of the basics so you understand trigger control, breath control, sight alignment.
A lot of people didn't like the rifle range, and I think it's because they get psyched out when they're shooting, especially when it's like qual day, when it's actual for score. I love going to the range.
Oh, I did too.
Marine
I'm
Corps
like,
made
dude,
it a big deal.
The only time I didn't shoot expert was out of boot camp. I think every time after that I shot expert.
What was it like? What was Army boot camp like?
It was in the 80s, so it was kind of like Marine Corps boot camp probably
Now,
what is now.
or maybe a few years ago.
Yeah. It was very similar with the Marine Corps boot camp is far and away more disciplined. You stand on line. You're
Definitely
in the squad
now.
bay.
I think that's even more so now.
Yeah. So when I
You
went
see
to
some of
Army
these
boot camp, your barracks were those H barracks.
Yeah.
So you had 4 squad bays and a head in the middle, and they were the old flat top H barracks. But when you went back to your barracks, like at night, like 2000 or whatever, whenever you're done training, you were kind of left alone. I mean, lights, they had a fire watch and lights out and all that. And the drill instructor would come through and be like, lights out. But then he'd leave the building and go to another building, the duty hut building. Now, I'm all the Army boot camps are a little bit different. But when I went to Marine Corps boot camp, you're there. And they own you 24/7. Like I used to steal sleep from the recruits. You know, you guys supposed to give them 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep unless they have fire watch. Man, you could steal all their sleep.
Imagine being a fucking sadistic ass drill instructor.
I honestly think about that sometimes because I kind of wanted to be a drill instructor, but I'm like, I think that'd be a cool experience to have, to live that life and say you did it, because that's extreme as fuck.
That's hardcore to say.
And I thought
to be a
I would
Marine
probably
Corps DI.
be a dick.
Well, yeah.
Just because I'd want to make sure I'd made the hardest. It's my job to now mold and create Marines. I want to make sure I create hard out. You know, like,
Yeah.
I think I'd fuck with them a lot.
Did you ever see anyone go across the line? They went too far. When were you a DI? What years?
97 to 2001.
Christ, 4 fucking years of your life you were a drill instructor. That is
Well,
4 years of just screaming.
You don't spend all 4 years on the street.
Yeah, you're on the pool. You're
So
on
yeah,
doing like
one of
McMap.
those years, it's actually supposed to be 3 years tour,
And you did an actual one.
and I did a little bit more,
Of
but
course.
Because he loved it.
I did. I loved.
Gotta
the
kill
shit
those
out of it,
bodies.
man. It was so much fun.
So what? Don't say any names, but describe us a time when your other fellow drill instructors went
Yeah.
too far.
Okay, maybe I told you this. So I was teaching alignment, and I fucking sucked at drill. I was better than everyone else, but I wasn't as good as other drill instructors. You know what I mean? So in comparison, I was very mediocre. Well, I'm teaching alignment, so I had this plan. I'm going to hydrate the shit out of these bitches. And then I'm going to teach alignment. And whenever they're aligned, I'll let that squad make a head call. Right? So, and they got to piss. So I hydrate them 45 minutes before. And I know they got to piss. So now I'm going to use
I know they have to.
their
piss.
desire to go take a piss to get what I need done. Right? So I want them to learn, but I want them not just to be mindless robots.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, so I'm doing this, and as a group gets it right, or whatever the drill movement was, I send them upstairs. Hey. So they run up the freaking barracks. So the last couple guys, we get done, I send them up there. Go up the ladder well, walk in the squad bay, and there's fucking recruits everywhere. There's piss everywhere. There's fucking
What?
camis all over the place, all over the floor. Shit is just, it's a fucking, the house is destroyed. It's a
The
nightmare,
house is destroyed.
right?
That sentence can send people to the moon.
So
The house is destroyed. Son.
I'm like, what the fuck, motherfuckers? And my partner was like, hey, boss, you kept sending them. I kept killing them. And he never let them. So they all pissed all over themselves. And I was like, oh, all right, ceasefire,
That's
ceasefire,
disgusting.
zero.
You didn't let him piss upstairs?
I sent him upstairs.
When they
to
got
make-
upstairs, he didn't let him go.
No,
pee?
he saw him come in the squad base, so he thought I was sending them to him to kill them. So he just kept killing bodies. And this
meaning
was,
fucking PT the shit out of them.
yeah.
Like make them do a ton of work.
So yeah, you zero out the squad base. Zero. All right, motherfuckers, everybody grab something off the deck, and they all grab what somebody else's camis. I don't care what. Grab everything off the deck. Everyone in the fucking showers right now. Turn on the showers. Scrub, 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 scrub.
Jesus.
Bring them out, and I was like, dude. He's like, hey, you kept sending them. I kept killing them. Like, good on you.
Yeah, but when they're all
Except-
pissing on themselves.
And the linen and everything. And I'm like, all right, now, because it was back before they had washing machines.
Oh, so you wash shit in between the squad bays, right? On those
Yeah,
little
on
stone,
the-
like
we
they
got
scrub.
taught how to do that, and I thought that was crazy.
And then you have to use it when you're in the jungle somewhere in Central America. Or
The only
whatever.
time we used it was after the field.
I just
after
thought it
the
was crazy
crucible.
that there's probably people in my boot camp that don't know how to do this. Like, I bet there's people in here right now that like you teach in boot camp. Drill instructors teach you how to be a human. Like that's why they do. They teach you how to shower.
Yeah,
just in
brush your
case there's
teeth,
that
clean your
one
teeth.
guy
lot
that
of scumbags.
just in case there's that one guy that doesn't know how to do it, and you're doing it, and you're like, I get it, but you're looking around, and you're like, oh fuck, I bet that's the first time he's ever
Old
been
boy
told
doesn't know how to
this.
take a shower right.
Like,
Dude,
remember
I-
the guy in ANGLICO we caught that didn't have any shampoo and all that shit? And we just found out he had never been showered. He didn't have anything in his shower. We found his
Oh,
room was
really?
disgusting. He was
Did he
with
stink?
you, I think.
Nah, I don't remember this.
He was with Brav. Whatever, I'll tell you
I remember
later.
we had a kid piss in the shower in boot camp, and someone told the DI, and they're like, "You motherfucker, you nasty fucking bitch." They're like, They made him take his rack and put it on the quarterdeck, and he had to sleep on the quarterdeck and the fire watch had to wake him up every 30 minutes to make sure he's not getting up to go piss in the shower.
Oh shit!
For like 2 days. So basically, this dude didn't sleep for like 2 days.
That's stealing sleep, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was
Oh shit!
you're in the duty hut, right? And you could hear the shower shoes when they get up in the night to make a head call. Stop, bitch! Where the fuck are you going? This crew gonna make a head call, sir. You know, you're like, is your rack made? No, sir. Well, when's the only time our rack is not made? When we're in it? You ain't in it, are you? Go make your fucking rack, bitch. So you send him back to make his rack, and then he comes back, you know, Mr. Compass, aye, sir. Did your rack mate inspect it? We work as a team, right? So anytime you do something, you have somebody else check you. So he's got to go wake up his rack mate, and of course he's got to fucking, and then that kid's got to come report.
He's probably trying to go rub one out.
Yeah, he's like, fuck, man.
This isn't worth it.
But then you send them back. By the time you're done, you have a whole side of the squad base up making racks, you know. And of
so
course,
funny.
they got to make it like 11 times because it has to be. The SOP said a recruit will be required to repeat an action until it is done correctly. So.
Fuck that.
And just to think, like, being in boot camp and to think, like, all your friends are out, like, having a normal, like, in college, they're all having fun, and you're sitting there and it's Halloween and you're fucking cleaning off shit off, you know, like, that is, I'm like, God damn it.
Did you come back? Did you come back from boot camp and go to, like, any, like, local parties? And everybody's like, where have you been?
I had 30 days off of leave from boot camp.
But were people like, where have you been? Were there people that didn't know where you were at?
Yeah,
and stuff?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I was home for a minute. I was home for like long enough for me. It's why I know why they only give 10 days. Anything over really 2 weeks, you remember, oh shit, civilian life's fucking cool.
Yeah.
10 days is just enough, you know, to where you can go enjoy it, have a good time, but you're still it's still in you because you're so fresh as a Marine. You've only been in the Marine Corps for 3 months.
Imagine
you give a guy
having
30 days.
Imagine having to try to manage
man,
reservists.
Huh?
Imagine having to try to manage reservists that come in like
terrible.
1 weekend a month. The rest of the time, they're just regular people.
So we had, when we went back, it was, again, 30 days off, 33 days, I think, total. Dudes were showing up at the airport for MCT in their alphas with combat boots, no haircut. Dudes couldn't fit in their alphas. Like, and the first sergeant that was there that was receiving us was just fucking mind blown. Like, he didn't even, he was so upset. He was so mad, but he was just, there was such a large group of people that just completely lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
A dude had his alphas on and his combat boots because he couldn't find his core frame. So he thought wearing combat boots was like the next best thing to do.
I bet a bunch of people come back.
Could you imagine wearing that shit? Like, it looks so stupid.
At least he tried, you know.
And you're in public. You're at a public airport. So people are seeing this.
Yeah.
That first sergeant I thought was just going to kill everybody. And then that same first sergeant, a kid threw a grenade in the grenade pit and missed, blew himself and the sergeant up.
What?
So that first sergeant had to deal with that too. And like some kid, you know how they sit you at you go to the grenade range. I don't know if you remember doing this in boot camp. You sat, there was a long wait, you know, because everyone's there from the company. Mm-hmm. And we're all like sat in rows. And you can hear every like minute or every 30 seconds a grenade would go off. You know, you get used to that noise. And you're at the same distance away. And there was one that was boom that was way fucking louder. And everybody was like, oh, shit. And then here comes the two
Corpsmen
and the medevac, basically. Pulling up, and you're like, oh, fuck. And now everybody's running around getting head counts of everybody because they need to make sure the numbers are up. And, like, you could tell some crazy shit's going down. And this little fucking dude, this tiny little guy, went to throw a grenade and just woofed it. And it fell into the grenade pit, and then the sergeant, whatever the guy was running the grenade, had to like dive him into the back of the grenade pit. They both took a bunch of shrapnel to him.
What's the SOP for that? You just grab the dude and throw him out?
Yeah, grab
and that first sergeant that same one had to deal with that. I'm like, dude, this guy's life sucks, man.
Imagine getting blown up in training by a grenade.
Imagine having to do that. Being an MCT instructor would be terrible. You're dealing with recruits with live ammunition, with machine guns. You don't trust them because they're fresh as fuck. And imagine doing a grenade range with people. That would be fucking terrible.
So some of that too, I think is a response. Like my drill instructor, before we left MCRD, he made us by the numbers pack our body bag with a set of camis, a pair of boots, boot bands, a cover. and then our alphas, everything, right? And then when we graduated, we put on our alphas, and then he's like, hey, when you get home, you take that shit off and you put it on this hanger. So when I got to JRC here at Pendleton, it's weird because it was one of those old wooden buildings.
The Joint Reception Center?
Yeah, so the right-hand side was people getting kicked out. It was
fucking shit bags.
Like
don't hang out with them.
Yeah, like combat or correctional custody or whatever.
Oh,
they were getting kicked out. And then the left-hand side was our squad bay for all the boots, right? We show up with our orders and shit. I don't know where to go. And so I go up the stairs, those wooden stairs, and there's a duty NCO right there. Corporal, he's like, all right, that's your squad bay, you're rack number 7, whatever it was, right? But I look to this side, and all these dudes are online, and they're like, yes, sir, aye, sergeant, no, sergeant, whatever. I'm like, holy fuck. I thought that was just boot camp. Because they were in civilian attire.
Yeah.
These dudes were in civilian attire.
Oh, no
and
way.
I'm like, oh, man, the whole fucking Marine Corps is like boot camp? Fuck me.
I thought it was over.
Yeah.
Oh, it's never over.
But my drill instructor, he hooked it up, man. He fucking prepped us. So when we got there, they're yelling at you like, hey, get out of your alphas, get into your camis, get in formation. I open my bag. Everything's right there. Everything. Put it on. Outside, standing around. Nobody else is out there. Like, then a couple other dudes from my platoon come out. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, that shit was awesome. Yeah, man, everything was there. Boot bands, everything. All the other guys are dumping their sea bags and trying to find a pair of boot bands or whatever.
I forgot. We used to have to do that. Yeah, you'd have to, when we got to MCT, they made you try on everything, and it was like, again, after 30 days.
You get an alteration, right? You get a free alteration.
After 30 days of leave, man, I remember taking a picture. There's a picture of me and this guy named Hildreth in MCT, and it was the first day that we got there, and it's a selfie of me and him, and we look so fucking depressed. We look like, I remember getting there and being like, what in the fuck did I do? Why am I here? Because, again, that 30 days was too much time.
Yeah, that's way too long.
Yeah.
Because we got recruiter's assistance because we graduated the day before Thanksgiving, and then we had until New Year's Eve, I think we checked in or something like that. Because everything was closed, like MCT and everything they weren't operating.
Yeah.
So in recruiter's assistance, luckily my recruiter was really cool, so he didn't make him really do anything. Other dudes were like, yeah, I was working like 15-hour fucking days.
I've heard some dudes slave drive those dudes. They're making them go to the mall and walk around constantly, making them go to all the hangouts.
I remember I thought,
where's all your buddies from high school?
Hell yeah.
I remember I thought your Charlie shirt went underneath your blues. When my drill instructor was like, hey, or my recruiter was like, hey, I'm going to pick you up. We'll wear our blues. And I didn't. That was the first time I ever really you put your blues on to try them on and shit, but
I didn't get blues in boot camp.
So I didn't really know. And I'm like, he shows up and I'm like, I don't know how to put this thing on. And he's like, dude, take that off. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, God damn it.
You got the
I'm
class.
an idiot.
Like an idiot.
You obviously didn't pay attention in the class.
I might have gotten the class.
You got the class.
I was probably just trying not to die.
They started giving out blues in boot camp a few months after I graduated.
How did you get
Yeah,
yours?
I didn't get blues.
I had to buy them.
Yeah, you bought them.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
own blues until I was a sergeant. I didn't
Where'd
go
you
to a ball
in?
until I was a sergeant.
Wow.
I was deployed one time. One time I got back from Iraq and I just bought I was like, oh, the ball's coming up. I'm excited. So I went and bought my blues and I went to go buy a ticket and they're like, oh, sorry, we're sold out.
How much are the blues?
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, they're
probably
expensive.
like a new
expensive.
set's probably $350 base.
Damn.
And then you got to get the alterations, the medals.
I
Luckily,
still
I was a boot at the time.
Yeah, buttonholes and because they have the brass buttons that you have to polish individually, and I use those for years.
No, fuck that.
You take
you get the anodized.
well, yeah, but then you got to buy the anodized.
We're the lazy generation.
And
What do you
then
think what are we, shining our boots over here? Get
Yeah.
out of here. Give me that core fram.
You think
Fake
I'm going to
plastic.
starch my cover?
What?
Do you remember starching your cover?
I
in
used to
boot
do
camp?
that.
Holy shit. We used to do that all the time.
we used to do it at maintenance battalion.
That shit would shine.
Support units are like the most fake motivational, like, it's hard to feel pride about being in the Marine Corps when you're at 2nd Maintenance Battalion just turning wrenches all day like a fucking factory worker.
Yeah.
That's what you feel like.
Yeah, I know. I had a buddy that was a air wing guy, mechanic, and he had, they'd win everything, all the color guard, all kinds of stuff, right? And I ask him like, what's the deal, man? You like ride these guys? And he's like, dude, their only connection to the Marine Corps is the uniforms, the drill, that stuff, right? Because the rest of the time, they're fucking slaves on the airframes or whatever. And so they come in, they work. So you have to, in order to keep them motivated and actually make them grow so they're good staff NCOs or sergeants or whatever, you have to really totally engulf them in other stuff. So he'd send them out on, as aggressors and shit like that. So he kept his guys involved. And
no, we didn't do that at Maine's Battalion. We just fucking slaved away.
just keep
too many trannies need to be replaced. Too many transfer cases.
I wanted to be a mechanic in the Marine Corps when I first joined. I was like, either I want to do mechanics or I want to be a grunt.
Those are two way different worlds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, my brother was a grunt,
different.
so I went in there and I'm like, I just want to be a grunt because I wanted to be like him. I'm like, and they're like, there's none available. And I'm thinking like, well, I like working on shit. Like, maybe I'll be a mechanic. And then I took the test and I tested high in like something to do with communications. They put me like in a communications field.
Probably electronics.
And then that's I got hired. I didn't even pick radio operator. They just gave it to me when I was in boot camp.
Were you open contract?
I was like a communications field.
Oh, okay. You had okay.
So it was anything to do with communications. But I come to think of it, they probably would have just put me wherever the fuck they wanted me.
I'll be honest, I hated being a mechanic.
I'm so glad I didn't.
But I will say this, that before the Marine Corps, I knew how to like change my oil, maybe change my brakes. But anything else, I would have been too timid to like change out a shock or change out an A-arm or change out a transmission. Like, there's no way. But like after going through MOS school, which was, dude,
is it hard?
No, fuck no. Day one, it was like, this is a screwdriver. This one is a flathead. You see people like,
writing
like
it down.
taking notes, like, okay, flathead. I'll use that. I'll use that word.
Flathead.
But it was that simple. And then you would go all the way to the point where I don't think, maybe we took an engine out of a Humvee, but I don't think we did. I know we took a transmission out. But what it taught you, and what it taught me the most was to learn how to read technical manuals, the TM manuals.
Yeah.
So once you learn how to do that, and you get the understanding of just mechanics of like, oh, okay, this is the kind of tool I'm going to use for these things. Dude, I had an Evo, and I probably saved probably close to $10,000 of labor by just knowing how to put my own downpipe on, change out. The only thing I ever had anyone do was put in a new clutch because it was an aftermarket clutch, and I was like, dude, I've never done an Evo. Like, an Evo is different than a Humvee. I've done 100 Humvees. I can do that. But an Evo, I'm like, I don't know, so I'm going to take this to an Evo guy and let him do it. That's the only time that and a time I had to have a machinist like tap a bolt that snapped, because an Evo's notorious for has 3 bolts for the downpipe, and it's notorious for having one of them always snap, and mine did.
What do you think the number one thing that you learned from the Marine Corps was, that the Marine Corps taught you?
Honestly, I've been looking back. The last few days, honestly, like probably the last week, I've been kind of thinking about how my life would be different had I not joined the Marine Corps. Because I think of myself, I'm like, you know what? I was completely insulated from the 2008 housing crisis. Like, the people that lost homes and lost jobs, and I can't relate to that because I was in the military and I was getting a steady paycheck. I had base housing. In 2008, I was a mechanic waiting to go to Iraq. I think I was working on the ITV, and then we had a deployment coming up to Iraq. So it's hard for me to relate about that. I think the Marine Corps I grew up a lot. I went from partying and having a crazy time from 18 to 22 because I didn't join right out of high school. I tried to, but I didn't. So from 18 to 22, I was just partying and working. But I learned a lot of like life skills, living on my own and stuff like that. And I think the Marine Corps kind of refined that. Like, I knew how to live on my own, and I knew how to kind of be an adult because I've been paying my own bills. I knew what it was like to, like, be broke, like broke, And I think the Marine Corps kind of gave me more confidence to do things and to, one, immediately you're in the middle class. Like your pay,
Yeah.
I was not necessarily, I guess, when I was a PFC because I refused to get any kind of assistance. You know, I grew up with my mom on food stamps and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck that. I'll never be like that. So PFC Kramer was buying all my own fucking diapers, all my own formula. Like, people were like, why aren't you on WIC? Why aren't you doing these things? There's all these opportunities. There's these things for you. If anyone deserves it, veterans or military members do. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. I can afford to live and buy this shit on my own. I can't go buy super nice things, but I also am not relying on someone else. You know, because you always see these people that talk about being on WIC and they get all this free shit, but they're cruising around in a new car.
Yeah.
Or they have a new, really nice TV. I had a box TV. I had a shitty fucking like 20-inch box TV that had the built-in VHS in front of it. And we drove my
Zenith.
ex's Toyota Celica until I was a sergeant, until I got back from my first deployment. And then I'm like, all right, we finally have enough money. I can buy a new car. So I bought a Terrain. And I bought my first time I ever bought a new TV and stuff like that. So I think for me, I look at things differently like that. I don't want to rely on people. That's why people ask me, they're like, why don't you try to go back and get a higher VA percentage? And I'm like, dude, I don't want that. Like, you know, I went and got what I got. You know, it is what it is. Like, I'm not asking for anything more. Yeah. And because I hate being reliant on the government, right?
Yeah.
But so the Marine Corps for me, I think with all of that, like being a dad and being a family person and also being in the Marine Corps and the responsibility of being, especially as a JTAC and being a forward observer, and like, I don't know. I think it made me more serious, which is probably not a great thing on some stuff, but I don't know. It grew me up a lot.
Yeah, it makes you an adult. You
know, and I'm a more well-rounded world citizen. You know what I'm saying? I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Kuwait, I've been to Singapore, I've been to Hong Kong, I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been to fucking Malaysia, I've been to, you know, like I've been to these places and I've seen, like, we've been to Djibouti, we've been to fucking, you know, where else? Oman. And I've seen like how different people live and different people interact with each other and how different societies treat each other and how different like governments work and how different, you know, from the poorest, like if you saw an Afghan like in Marja, that it's such a old school like way of living. They're living off the land. They're living in mud huts. You know, they're living tribes and shit. Like seeing that and then coming back here, and it's like when someone tells you that they're poor or they're well, you know, and don't get me wrong, there's definitely people that are like poor and having a rough time and stuff like that. But to like when you compare it to that, you're looking at those people like these people are
they're
sleeping outside at night because it's too hot inside of their mud hut during
on the dirt
in the summertime. They're bathing in a canal that their animals also bathe in, that they also wash their clothes in, that they also use the bathroom in sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like they don't have tractors. They're using donkeys to pull fucking.
Yeah.
It's a weird. So the Marine Corps showed me a different kind of world, and in school and stuff like that. And I've said it on the podcast. I wish more people would tell their stories because it's such an important thing to like relay. Like, here's how people are living in other places. Like, appreciate what you have. Like, appreciate that we can sit here and make a podcast and put it on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people don't even have electricity sometimes. The power's on and off. It's on and off. They don't have stable electricity. You know, and you know, Tracy's seen the same thing, and I'm sure you've seen so many different cultures too. Being on a Mew, going to all these Asian countries and shit like that on Mews. I won't say Mews, been on multiple. It's like, I don't know. So I think that is probably the most important thing, is because I've become a more well-rounded and better off world citizen, I think.
Yeah, I'd say like cultured. Just more culture.
But
you
it
kinda
sucks.
Get it.
But it sucks talking to people that aren't because they'll never understand until they see it for themselves.
Right, and you can't even really hate on them because it's like that's all you just don't understand.
Again, the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah, you just don't get it.
You know,
I agree. But people need to be wise. So what did you get? What was your number one lesson?
Probably cultured. Probably a more like a well-rounded like. I think about how dumb not dumb, but like just how uneducated I was growing up in a small town. I thought that I was the smartest fucking kid ever. I could have sworn, like, you go back in my head back then, I thought I knew fucking everything.
Not even world differences, but cultural, regionally within the United States. How many people did you meet from different places in the United States that's had a completely different upbringing than you, that has a completely different life trajectory? Someone that lives in Alabama, in southern Alabama, is living differently than somebody that comes from New Jersey. But you, in the Marine Corps, the military in general, you're bringing all these people together. And that's why I think military members should become politicians, because they have a better perspective of the actual country and regional differences and stuff like that. You know, we accept things from people because they're from this area. You know, that's just what it is. What it is.
Yeah, and where else do you get exposed to so many different people? I mean, we hear all this, racial upheaval. We never saw that in the Marine Corps. It was actually funny when there was a racial, people make race jokes or whatever. We made joke out of it, but we never saw those kind of problems. People are crying about shit. I wonder if there is.
Do you think there is often in the Marine Corps problems with that?
Race problems?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say no, because then that's downplaying maybe people that have experienced that, but I've never...
I think it's minimal. I mean,
I think we've all probably said something that was probably considered racist, and that's from every race. Because
but
there's things that you can never say that you've talked about in the military that if you ever said in the real world on this, online or anything like that, people would be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're a racist. No, it's just a joke, man.
That took a minute when I got out too, because like working construction was easy because everybody's still like. We talk like we're in the military, right? Nobody censors themselves. You just kind of say what you want. Everybody takes everything as a joke. But you kind of get in weird situations where you'll say something, you're like, ooh, should I have fucking... Does nobody else think that's funny? Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said... Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
I get that situation when I show someone like a strike video. They're like, what the fuck?
I bet in school it's difficult. Like you're probably much different than the people you go to school with. Like, is it hard having an argument with a 19-year-old in school that's just dumb and you're like, you just don't fucking understand?
To be honest, I don't really get into... I get into arguments. Not arguments. We get into discussions with, like, the professors. But very few students will engage because they know that they don't really have life experience. You know what I'm saying? I've told a girl... One time, I remember a girl was talking about, like, how the U.S. has no culture and she wished she lived in Europe and all this stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, have you been anywhere outside of San Diego? Because there's culture across this entire country. And I'm like, and this culture is brought in from all these people from all over the world. Like, go to Chinatown. That's American culture. A Chinatown is like an American thing now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to say the U.S. has no culture is to be ignorant of the U.S. And I have gained... I'm one of those people, man, growing up, I used to read shit in like encyclopedias or I'd see stuff online. I'm like, man, that'd be super cool to see. Yosemite would be so cool to see. The Pueblos or whatever the huts they've dug in the side of the mountains, like the Pueblo Indians, that'd be super cool to see.
We got to go see
and
those.
I took the opportunity of driving across country last year or whenever it was.
I should have went.
And I saw all these things that I've always wanted to see, that I've read about and seen online and seen in history books. And so for someone to say to me like that we don't have any culture, I'm like, you just haven't traveled enough.
Yeah.
I've eaten the best ribs I've ever had in Memphis, Tennessee, and then I cruised through the mud of the Ozarks the same day, that evening time. And I don't know, man. It's just...
And it's all culture,
Yeah.
I told you I made that jambalaya. It's Cajun-style jambalaya. So it's different... Oh, I'm sorry, Creole. Creole is different than Cajun. The different spices and stuff. And I learned all that by making a recipe, but that is culture.
One of the first guys I met in the Marine Corps in like base housing, our neighbor was an artillery guy, and his friend was from Louisiana. His name's Hebert. And he's like, I know how to pronounce that name. It's Hebert, but you pronounce it Hebert because but he's from Louisiana, and his mom or his parents would send us the turducken. and boudin, which is like the sausage and rice that they make. And he would like bring over 2 turduckens and a bunch of boudin and cook all that shit. And like, you know, that's like a southern Louisiana culture thing that I got to experience because I was in the military. Like, how else would I have ever been introduced to that? Like in Indiana.
Yeah.
You know,
that's like that's why I was excited when we went to Mexico, because you get to try all these. Like all weekend we ate like kings. I swear to God, it was amazing. Like these wineries, and it's all relatively cheap. And it like re-sparked like my adventure mode, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like we're in the backwoods. To me, it's back. I mean, you're an hour and a half southeast of Tijuana, so you're in Mexico. Yeah, and it's like true Mexico. It's not Tijuana, that fake kind of. You're driving through like cow pastures and like little tiny these bunk little cities, and like that's what we're trying to get our Century Pass and stuff now, so we can do that more often. Because I'm like, we literally live on the border. Yeah, and it's not. As I feel bad that I've lived here this long. As long as you do it smartly, like I'm a common sense dude. As long as you don't go in the place you shouldn't go. I'm trying to learn a little bit of Spanish now. I'm like, I should get myself. I should set myself up so in the next couple of years we can start just taking trips down to Tijuana, to these beautiful places and down past. And
I've always wanted to go down to the Baja coast.
Yeah,
and see that. I've heard it's really nice.
And the thing is, dude, the highway once you get past Tijuana rides the coast that we took, but there's no homes on it. Because it's very scarce. Like there's not very many, so it's beautiful. Like the sunset, you literally will just watch the coast. There's no like, you know, you do it here, but there's houses and there's all sorts of shit.
I think people in the other parts of the country probably don't realize is that there's a lot of Americans that retire to Tijuana. They move right across the border.
Live there. A lot of guys drive across the border in the morning for work and go back
because it's cheaper to live there. And I know a lot of people, or I don't know a lot of people, but I know a lot of people do go across the border for medical care because they'll go to the dentist down there for super cheap.
For the airport too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Yeah. I know if you want to go to Cuba, you go across the border and fly from Tijuana to Cuba because you can't fly in the U.S.
Still can't fly from the U.S. there?
I think Trump banned it, and I don't think it's been lifted again. I think they named them a terrorist state.
So I'll tell you a funny Tijuana story, man. Not funny, but interesting. So when I was on the drill field, one of my buddies was a Mexican guy. He had family in Tijuana, and another Mexican girl, his wife, but they lived here. You know, they lived in base housing or whatever. Anyway, was
he like first generation American or something?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
What an American dream that is. That's fucking cool.
But she had a boyfriend in Tijuana, and she left
his wife.
Yeah, and he left. Bitches. She left him and took his car. So we're on the drill field, and we were coming up north to the rifle range.
How you take a dude's car?
And he's rough, like, dude, I need to get my car back. I'm like, no problem, man. I'll help you. He goes, it's in TJ. I'm like, oh. But I already said I'd help him. So I'm like, all right, we're in, bro.
You're locked in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Going to TJ.
So we go down there, and we're driving together down there. And it's back in the hinterlands of TJ, like fucking, you know, houses made out of tarps and shit, right? We go back, and there's no street lights. When you get out of the main part of the city, all the other part that people just build themselves, there's no, like, street lights or no stop signs. People are driving all crazy, and there's hills and shit. We get back there. By now, it's dark. I fucking get out there. He's like, I don't know how to hotwire the car. I'm like, I got you. Boom, boom, boom. Fire it up. And I'm like, all right, dude. Head for the border, bro. I'll follow you. All right, no problem. I'd never been back there. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. It's nighttime. There's no fucking street lights. And he takes off down the hill and turns, and I got lost.
No way.
And I'm following him, right, in my car. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. It's dark as shit.
Could you use your GPS?
Yeah, it was before there were cell phones. And I'm like, fuck Arilla. Okay, I know the ocean is that way, and I know the border is that way. Yeah. So I'm going to take every left that takes me towards the lights of the city. And if I get down around Revolution Avenue, I can get back to the States. I know how to get back from there, you know. But I'm like, I've just stole a car in Tijuana. I'm fucking lost, and it's nighttime. And I got to be to work at like 03:30 tomorrow.
She left him to go live with some dude in the slums in Tijuana.
Yeah, rough. Woman.
That's rough.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's love, bud.
That's emotional thinking. Thinking with the emotions.
That's wild. Tijuana is, so you haven't been there, right?
No, we talked about it. We said Mexico is what freedom actually looks like.
It's like, well, too much freedom.
It's like true freedom. Like there's too
Yeah.
much, like, because you can do kind of whatever you want down there.
And there's too many scumbags that just fuck, like,
You kind of see where the, not having any kind of real regulation gets you.
where property, like,
That's like the in between us and somewhere like Afghanistan where it's all tribal.
yeah, like you get why like plumbing codes and like building codes. You get why everything's a code, because people will totally go below that code
To a
if they
point.
can.
I'm sure you, as a professional plumber, see some codes and you're like, "What, really?
Yeah,
Like this is dumb."
yeah. It's not like, yeah, I don't know. Tijuana, everything's got like a real concrete color to it. Everything's so. You've been to Japan, right?
No, I haven't.
It's just everything's kind of like
It's like a
dingy,
communist feeling.
A little bit. Everything's just like a very concrete color, like.
And I
shade.
say that having been to Kyrgyzstan, like a lot of people
Yeah,
that went to Afghanistan. Which people that have been there, have you been there?
Yeah.
To Kyrgyzstan, when you land there and it's like the Kyrgyzstan spaceport or somewhere that they have you land, and you drive to the American base, you're like, this is communism. Okay.
yeah. This is
It's super sketchy
it's,
looking.
It's like an old James Bond movie, like what you imagine.
So like you see
Soviet Russia.
the concrete statue of a dude with like ivory growing over it and shit. You're
But
like,
isn't
wow.
that crazy that's how people live? Like some people, that's their reality.
Again, that gives you appreciation for some things.
Imagine having like Lacey and I today. I got to wake up in Southern California, right? Got some bomb ass brunch, hung out with my dogs, got soned, and now I'm doing a podcast with my friends. Like
What?
in the amount of luck and the amount of like just good fortune and the fact that I can even be in this moment doing this and not in fucking North Korea in some shit.
Yeah.
But think
Some
about how
internment camp in North Korea.
So
yeah, that's how you'd probably
it's
be.
almost like if I've been given this opportunity to be here, I might as well be happy,
Yeah, definitely.
because not everybody gets this opportunity to be here. Granted, I worked hard to get here, but yeah,
I think we
right.
can also agree that we can be better, and also but enjoy like everything around us.
I think that the
The
Marine
people
Corps,
that are like fuck America, like down, we're a completely worst country ever.
I think that-
fuck you.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
then move to Cuba, bro.
Go some places and see some places.
I think that the
Yeah.
Marine Corps also gave me like a drive. Like everything I do now,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got to be the best at it, because I can't allow.
I don't want to fail at this. Like, how are
Right.
people going to look at me if I fail this?
And there's like people that go to my school that either don't show up or they're getting like 30% and shit. And all their grades get sent to their bosses because their bosses are paying for it. I'm like, don't you care? Imagine like me just showing up to going to some school and telling my first sergeant that, hey, I failed out of it.
Yeah.
It's not an option.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, failure is not an option.
It's so weird that
Tenacity.
I don't know if I had it that much before I joined. I think before I joined, I was pretty lazy. And I'm like, well, whatever, dude. I don't really care.
So for me, I didn't have a lot of guidance. My dad lived in a different state. My mom was a high school graduate working jobs that middle-aged high school graduates had, So, like, literally never talked about going to college. I was like that. I told my mom as soon as I got a job, I think my freshman year in high school, like, don't buy me any more clothes or anything, because I'll just do it myself. Because you buy me shit from Walmart, and I'm not going to wear that shit anymore. So I didn't have anyone that could tell me about, like, trading in the stock market, savings accounts, going to college, how to get a loan, and maybe I could have asked, but I probably didn't ask.
But you don't know to ask.
I'm gonna do it on my own kind of person. I moved out, like I've told him. I moved out when I was in high school, my senior year of high school. Not because my mom's a bad person or anything. I live with my mom. I love her to death, obviously. But because I was like, I don't need to live here. I can take care of myself. And I've never moved back home. You know what I'm saying? So when people tell me how bad they have, and this is to the point, like, one time one of my buddies got a DUI in my car because we were having a party. And my buddy got a DUI in my car going to get more beer for the party. And it got impounded. And I didn't go to work the next day, which is basically like, I knew I was going to get fired, so I just quit. I mean, I just, just didn't show up again. And that's when I knew what being broke was. Like, legit, like, I lost my job. I'm living on my own. And this is like, I had my own apartment at this time by myself. And I remember not having any money and going to, which was down the street and paying $0.25 for a day-old loaf of bread, and that's what I would eat for a week. With my mom living and my whole family in the same town, but I refused to go home because I was like, this is my fault. I put myself in this position, and I'm going to give myself... I ate fucking one loaf of bread a day, a foot-long bread a day. So that's why for me, when I see people complain about their situation, I'm like, you are not trying hard enough. You are not... You don't know... Like you're just... You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
I've had arguments with people that say that it's not their fault and that minimum wage should be higher and that it's too hard to get a job in America. Like there was a meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie's like, they're like, get a job, Charlie, and Charlie's like, okay, I'll just strap on my job hat, get in the job can, and launch the Jobville. It's saying that like, oh yeah, let me just go get it. It's so easy. And I'm like, you can make money doing whatever you want.
When
in
you
America.
say I can't get a job, you're automatically saying everybody that's getting a job every day is better than you. And you're admitting to yourself that you are worse off, you are a worse person, or you are worse at advertising yourself than all of these people.
But here's the thing. The arguments back from these people were one of them said, well, what if you have kids? And I'm like, well, you shouldn't have had fucking kids. If you're worried about having a job and you can't afford your shit, why did you have a child? That's not my fault. That sounds like your fault.
Those are grown-up decisions, yeah.
Two, the other one was arguing about, well, what if you like smoking pot and it's not legal in your state? I'm like, well, then obviously you like...
an argument, man.
Obviously you like smoking pot more than you like
I really
working.
like smoking weed, but I stopped for fucking 12 years while I was in the Marine Corps.
So these were
just stopped, and I was perfectly happy with that.
But I realized that these were the people I was arguing against. And I'm like, oh, you guys are all those people that I'm better than, obviously, because if I'm doing it, I don't know how the fuck you guys aren't. Like, I think
those
the
are the people that never grow up, man.
The mindset is so wild to me. The people you can make. I mean, like the guy Keith that I was doing plumbing with, he made $110,000 a year working at Culligan selling water. He made $100,000 a year. He owned a fence company and sold fences that go around construction sites. So there's two jobs right there. Two totally. I would never think you can make $100,000 a year selling Culligan water.
Random.
I would never think of the construction sites. You always see the fencing around them. He rented out fencing to made like $100,000 a year doing that. So now he's a plumber making $140,000 a year plumbing in Colorado. So it's like there's three different ways right there. I've told you you can make over $100,000 a year, and I know plumber. You can join the plumbing union. I was telling them about trades. Well, then they were like, well, what if you weren't physically capable to do the trades? I'm like, you're talking about like 10% of the like. Now you're
Quit
just
making
catering.
excuses.
Yep, it's just crybaby. There's a guy.
It's crazy to me.
I follow him on YouTube. He's a former Army captain, and he got out and he does. He buys and flips houses and stuff, but he does little programs on how does Joey make $1,000 a day, or $500 a day, or whatever it is, right? And one of them was the guy bought a freaking like 18-foot trailer. And he hauls people's junk off. And sometimes he makes $400 in a day. Sometimes he makes $1,000.
Yeah, those little side jobs turn into careers real fast.
Yeah, and he had lost his job. He was in the financial industry or something, and he had the F-350 crew cab with hot and cold running water and all that because it was cool. He bought a trailer, and he borrowed the money like from his uncle. Bought the trailer and started hauling people's junk. And now he's got a fleet of junk trailers. Yeah.
But it's things like that. You can make money doing whatever. And the thing is, you're literally living in the land of like, this is where you want to be if you want to start making your own company. This is
where
what
everybody comes here.
This is what America's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can sell and make basically whatever you want. If one day I wanted to quit everything I wanted to do and make fucking wooden ponies out of and sell them online, and that's just what I wanted to do, no one can stop me. How crazy is that?
And there's a market out there.
How crazy.
Especially with the internet.
And then you have people using the internet. Like there's a guy down the street from me that flies his American flag upside down at his house.
Really?
And I'm like, and it's right on the main street. It's on 70th Street.
You should go and be like, do you have an emergency, sir?
So I've thought about it. And I've thought about like, okay, when you pull out on these public roads and you use your iPhone and you use all the amenities of America, yet you say you hate America and stand on the backs of everybody that have fought for this country only to spit on like their grave.
Or they're just saying
like,
America needs to be better, which I agree with. But you're also People are dumb, man.
Or
I don't trust that guy's probably of right mind saying, I'm just trying to make this symbolic and saying that America needs to be better. There's no fucking way the guy is saying
or
that.
it could be that he feels the nation is in distress. I have a buddy that flies his flag upside down because the fraud in the election and all that, and he's like,
I never thought of that way.
People are getting radicalized, man.
that's not radical.
People are on Newsmax and OAN. That is the MSNBC of the right. You're listening to a lot of propaganda on there. There's a lot of good stuff and there's a lot of bad stuff.
But that's not
radicalized.
See, that's what they want us to believe.
No. I know people that are literally. Hold on. I know people that are literally radicalized.
Do not interrupt him.
That have said that are continuing to say that the election is a fraud, and some of them still believe that Trump is still going to somehow take over.
How do you know that it wasn't? How do you know that it wasn't a fraud?
Common sense.
I don't know
man.
that it was a fraud, and I have no clue.
The exact opposite.
Common sense.
How do you know that it wasn't a fraud?
Explain to me this.
Trump lost because he pushed away. He told his voters not to use mail-in voting during a pandemic.
That's
why he lost.
No. I'm not saying that this is
I
a
voted
whole
for
Trump.
the guy. That's why he lost.
I'm not saying
That's
this is
not
a
why
Trump
he lost.
issue. I'm just saying whether Trump or not. How do you know that there was that?
In my opinion.
Okay, thank you. That's
okay,
what I
so
want to
your
hear.
opinion is this. Let me tell you why.
And I know
think
my
the
opinion's correct.
opposite.
Yeah, see, and I know that I know you and I know how you are, so I just wanted you to say that so we could be on the same page. It's your
Give me
opinion.
another beer.
And I don't even know if it was. I have no clue anything about it, but I'm just saying.
I will guarantee you it will eventually come out.
Oh,
that it was
guaranteed.
fraudulent.
Hang on, wait.
So
Can we put money on it?
Just think about it.
Bet $5 on it.
When you
I'll
win,
be the middleman here.
yeah, absolutely.
You're
That
talking about
$5
8
bet
million
has
votes,
been made.
man. 8 million fraudulent votes. There
Yes.
were fraud. There was 100%. There was fraud. 100%. I think everyone agrees upon that. Not everyone. A lot of people on a radical left don't agree on that. There was 100% fraud in the election, but not at the scale that would have turned over the election. Trump lost because of his fucking
That's what
telling
you think.
people not to do mail-in voting.
No. Now think about this.
Every one of those people say, look at the spirit or whatever you want to say. The people on the right were all pumped up about the election. What do you think all the protests were last year during the summertime? Those were all times that they got people registered to vote, young people to register to vote and stuff like that, and got people into politics.
Okay. Let me think about this. Tell me when in history the guy who won Florida and Ohio didn't win the Rust Belt. Tell me when in history, modern history, obviously not the 1800s.
History always changes, though.
Not this much. Think about this. Every bellwether county, Trump won every bellwether county. He only lost in 4 places, 4 major cities. Those 4 major cities flipped it.
Flipped what?
The election. Those 4 major cities.
The entire election?
Yeah, that was
What 4 major cities?
Atlanta, Philadelphia.
Yeah, those are always Democratic strongholds. The cities always are.
Okay, but let me ask you this: did you think Biden got more votes than Obama?
I'm telling you, I think so. Yes.
No way.
I think so.
No way.
I think it comes on the back of all the protests of last summer.
No.
I think the ages. I bet there was just a lot more younger kids voting
100% there were,
because they're just so brainwashed.
which is never good for the Republican Party.
How did
They're so
Trump get
brainwashed.
76 million votes?
In college, I know it's bad.
10 million more than anyone has ever gotten on a re-election, right?
Yeah,
10 million more.
because it was that polarized of a year.
No, I don't think so. If you look at the math, like the chart,
Nobody has been able to show proof of fraud at the level that will change the election. And even judges in courts that were appointed by Trump are saying the exact same thing.
no, they're not. That's what the
Oh shit!
No, they're not.
Who's
That's what
lying? One of you are lying.
Show me your source.
that's what the surface says, right? But why didn't the Supreme Court take Texas's case?
I don't know. Why didn't they?
They said they didn't have standing. So the only place a state can sue another state is in the Supreme Court.
So you're talking about a Supreme Court that has multiple justices by Trump is against Trump. 3 justices from Trump.
The head justice is the one that chooses to take or not take.
Yeah, I know.
And Roberts is a commie. We know that.
I don't know if he's a commie. He's definitely not as conservative people wanted him to be.
He's a straight up scumbag. He's the one that voted that the Affordable Care Act was actually legal and constitutional. There's
yeah,
no
they said
way
it was a tax or whatever.
anybody in the right mind who knows anything about the Constitution, just the bare basics from high school.
He was the one that voted for that? How long has he been
was the
the
swing
Chief
vote.
Justice? Oh, okay.
He was a swing vote. So,
yeah, politics, man.
exactly.
What's going on here right
Trump
now?
lost, man. We got to let it go.
Oh, he lost.
And we
But it
also,
wasn't right.
here's what we also have to do. One, hope President Biden does a good job for Americans.
Well, he's already sucked. He's only been 10 days.
I will say this. I am very, as a Trump voter, I'm very unhappy that I've seen President Biden sign 30 executive actions in his first week. 30 executive actions, which includes a lot of stuff,
And
which is
everything-
ridiculous. It's
and
like, I
everything
think
was-
the last 4 presidents before him, the most they all did were like 5. Some of them had 0 in the first week.
Oh shit!
And he's done 30.
And most of those 30 was just to undo shit that Trump did. So it's basically I hate Trump. He's a bad guy.
Keystone Pipeline got shut down, which was bullshit. So now we're going to get foreign oil out of that.
People don't. I'm like, how do you think the oil's gonna get here? People are like, not through mine. They're my friends who I'm pissed that they're putting up stuff like they're against the pipeline going through Keystone.
There's
And
a
I'm like,
there's a minimum amount of oil being imported into the U.S. now. Like we're almost exclusively we create our own. It's like 90%.
Isn't that what we want?
Maybe plus. Yes. But that Keystone Pipeline not only supplies more oil, but it also supplies oil from a solid foreign partner and neighbor.
Yep.
And it provides jobs. And there's so many pluses to it. There's a lot of minuses. There's some
I can't
environmental
imagine
issues.
I can't imagine they really
But
destroy it that much.
Knowing people that have worked in the oil industry, like the safeguards behind like oil spills and stuff like that are extreme.
That's what I'm saying.
Super
it's not like they're going in there and they're just plowing
And don't
fields
get me
that
wrong,
they're not
places
using.
have gotten fucked up. Places have gotten fucked up by oil. I see both
But
sides.
the positives are more than the negatives, I feel like.
So he shut that down. He also banned any new contracts of fracking and exploration
on
federal lands.
I saw the one where they put up his thing where he said he's not, and then they put
even a lot of senators, I think even Democrat senators,
Well, he lied. He said
are
he wasn't gonna
like,
do
hey, you're fucking with a lot of jobs on federal land, on like our own lands. Like you're messing with a lot of our people's
But not only
jobs.
that,
So
but when you think about
there's
the
pushback
pipeline,
there.
There's something like, I don't know what it is. I think it's like 10,000 miles of pipeline in the United States already.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
So that little piece to connect this to this, is not the end of the world.
And I can't imagine they go
Well,
in there. They
I
don't
mean,
just
it's not a
plow
little
down the
piece. It's
forest.
also quite a bit. It goes
no,
like
it's good for us, but it's not destroying the environment. It's not burning the water supply. All that is bullshit.
It's definitely a more economical way to ship oil rather than on tanker trucks or.
And it's better for the environment.
There's not any. I believe there are 0 oil tankers that traverse the Great Lakes. Major oil tankers.
There's major investors that own the railway along that northern
railway
edge.
shipping.
So that's why they don't want the Keystone Pipeline, because they lost all their money from shipping the oil all the way to the coast and then shipping it down. It's better for the environment to have the pipeline.
Well, I mean, it's already built, so I wonder what they're going to do with it. Or if it's not all the way built, there's a lot of it already.
So does
built.
that mean all that destruction that they caused in the forests was now for nothing? It's just going to end, and it's just never going to be.
It's just going to be a pipe that sits there.
Like what the fuck?
And a lot of it's actually buried. A lot of it's underground.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much destruction they really cause. I can't imagine.
Would you get on a job like that? Being as a welder.
Do you know how much fuck those dudes can make? $200K a year, no problem.
Yeah.
And you're only working for very minimal amounts of the day because you're as the welder. So my brother-in-law works on a pipeline at home, and he's the foreman of the job. So he's underneath him. He has like welders and stuff. He told me their welders are taking home $2,400 a month, $2,400 a week.
That's
so
okay.
$2,400 a week is like $150 a year. So, and he said that they work the least out of all of them there because they are just waiting for the pipes to come, everything to get joined, and they're the final step. They weld it together.
Yeah.
So they work for hours, maybe, hour or two of actual work, and the rest of the time they're just hanging out on their phones waiting for the
I
next
bet the
pipe to
inspectors are making huge money.
Well,
insane
on top of that,
money because they're making per diem too.
The expectation, like there's 0. That's like
we had to
you
get
can't
all
have
of
0
ours.
issues.
I wonder if they X-ray them because they X-rayed.
They have
for me to
to
get certified in the union. I had to have all my welds X-rayed. But I don't know if they have like portable X-ray machines like that.
I'm sure they do.
Because they do stick welding and they go top down, which is completely different. For you usually go with the 7018 rod. They're different. So it's crazy. In welding, there's different rods for different styles and different. 7018 rod is like you don't use it for the root. A 6010 is the certain rod you use for the root. It's the strongest one. And then a 7018 is the rods used for the outside. But they do like this opposite thing where they go on the top and they both weld down because it's faster and it's more proficient. But it's not as pretty, I guess you could say. It doesn't look as good aesthetically.
Well, think about this.
Not stacking dimes over there.
Exactly.
We're not just talking about welders and oil workers and stuff. We're talking about restaurants, hotels.
Oh yeah, the supporting facilities.
Coffee shops.
Kills everybody.
All those places. If
that's no
70,000
good.
people lose their job, that means 170,000 people lose their business.
Are we back in the Green New Deal now too?
No, I don't
I read
know.
that.
That hasn't been brought up.
they never
He's done
passed
other
that.
stuff though.
But they're trying.
That's why the whole oil. That's why he's doing Keystone Pipeline. That's why he's also shutting down fracking, new fracking permits, because they want to shift to green energy. Which it's like, dude, even in California, one of the most liberal states, we can't even make enough electricity to keep our own power on all the time.
In La Mesa, I'm like, come on.
In like
man.
major cities, yeah. And it's
That's
like,
what happens when you let Democrats be in charge.
And now they've made it where only electric vehicles can be purchased after 2025 or something like that.
What?
Yeah, California changed the law where in California it's like 2025 or 2030. Only electric vehicles after that. And it's like, dude, your electric infrastructure is like the worst in the country.
And where does electricity come from?
Wait.
For here?
I
don't even know.
I
Burning
heard
coal
that
and oil.
before.
Yeah, coal and oil for sure.
I heard that
Natural
before,
gas.
but I'm like, there's no way this is going to get overturned. There's literally no way.
How
this
can it
is
be
gonna
overturned?
happen.
Oh, it'll.
There's
get
no. I
overturned.
mean,
They'll just get to that year and be like, well, let's bump it 5 more years.
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Because there's. I mean, think of like car dealership. Like think of
Well,
everything.
GM, I think GM just came out and said by 2035 they're going to be only doing electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles,
Which is
Where are we
huge.
getting all this? How are we going to charge? Our electrical system, our grids are
I
going to
think
be.
people need to look at more photos of battery mines, where all that lithium mines, where the lithium comes from.
all the
people are
parts
so
of the
fucking
battery.
Stupid, dude.
Oh,
My
that's-
diesel car is probably cleaner than like.
So that's
these
like
cars out here.
the conflicts of the future are countries like China securing all these like leases in Africa because of the natural resources to make like electronics, like batteries and stuff like that. Because that's such a huge commodity, and these are limited resources that these like batteries get made out of. These are things that we just take for granted. We're like, oh yeah, look, batteries. I'll just go to the store and get batteries.
Yeah.
Well, think about this.
What if batteries are gone one
That's
day?
what I'm saying. That's why it's so
Yeah.
good to be alive right now.
Yeah.
we're just
But we're on
enjoy
the
it.
we're starting to be on the downfall of that where I'm starting to be like, man, this might not be the time to be alive anymore. Like the last 20 years we kind of been living, but now we're kind of like, well, not
Hey, we're-
20 really.
We're enjoying life right now. Buy AMC. We're buying.
But I'm
GameStop
saying I think we might be on.
stocks.
I think we might be on the downhill of that. We're like,
We'll be living.
we
in
might
mud
not
huts.
be as. I don't know, man.
I don't know, dude. I think every generation's like, man, we're fucked.
But that's what I'm saying.
We're so screwed.
We haven't really had anything
Kids
yet.
these days.
Since 2000 and since
We talk about our
9/11.
politics being bad, but we also forget about like a president being assassinated in the '60s. Fucking a presidential candidate being assassinated. Like the weather underground and their bombings and stuff.
Yeah, but
Turmoil and stuff is something that's always happened in this country. We just forget about it.
it has always happened. But the difference now, back then, like when Kenny was, our money was based on gold. Our money had a value. Our money is now based on the full trust and confidence of the U.S.
Yeah, but I
government.
don't think that causes the turmoil.
No, it doesn't cause a turmoil. But the
I mean, we had a
difference is-
National Guard soldier shoot a college student in Ohio.
Well, that, yeah,
During a protest. Imagine if a National Guard dude shot someone at a protest now. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder
Yeah.
why they didn't shoot more. Goddamn hippies.
Well, they shot that chick
God damn.
crawling through the window at the Capitol.
Saw that shit.
But she wasn't crawling through the window. She was standing there.
No, dude, she was crawling through the glass, man. The
Yeah,
glass was kicked out. You
Watch
could
the
see her
video.
crawling through it.
She was
I've seen
standing
it.
inside the
It's unfortunate.
The
It was a gross video, honestly. You can see her all like her nervous system fucking ending, I guess.
But anyways, our money was based on something of value. Now our money's based
Crazy.
on nothing.
Well,
So
yeah.
all that turmoil was able to be overcome because we had a strong economy.
That's why we just keep going in debt. It's good. It's good times.
Debt ain't
fuck
forever.
that.
That was Trump's big
That's why
thing.
everybody's buying Doge or whatever.
We
Is
grow
that
ourselves
stock?
out of debt.
Or not stock, but
Will we ever though?
Yeah, you can grow yourself out. Well, I don't know at this point. I mean, they want to spend another 1.6 billion.
trillion, homie.
Where are we
1.9.
Where are we getting all these T's from?
1.9.
Where are all these trillions coming from? I don't understand
Print
it.
machine.
Magic.
Jesus Christ.
Magic.
Print machine makes
Turn
money.
that thing up. Crank up the heat on that bad boy. I need more money.
Yeah, here's another thing for you. Why did Hunter Biden sign $1 billion contract, $1 million contract, whatever it was, with a Chinese energy company, oil and gas, and then here we are a week.
Well, now they're investigating those things.
Come on.
Now that Biden has won the election, it's in the New York Times.
Now
they're
that
all
his
looking
father
at
is
it
the
now.
president, we'll
They're
be
not
okay
Now
with
they're
it.
all looking at it.
What'd they do about Hillary's emails?
Oh my God! Here we go.
She had
Hillary's emails.
she had her own
33,000. I know 33,000 emails.
Could you have got away with having your own server in the Marine Corps?
No, but it happens all the time.
What do we do to stop that?
It happens all the time. The FBI agent that just admitted to altering email. No, he was an FBI agent. Excuse me. He was a lawyer, I believe.
FBI lawyer.
He was an FBI lawyer that admitted to altering emails. Is being like, I don't think he's being charged. I think they dropped his charges.
Yeah.
How?
But when you see someone do something, imagine someone messing up something that has a secret security clearance, leaving something classified out in the Marine Corps.
Dude,
You'd get hammered.
a Navy kid took a selfie on a submarine and got freaking put in a brig.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went to prison, I think,
You know?
What?
And Hillary has her own
because he took a
server.
selfie by the reactor or something like that.
You can't take
Fuck.
any photos in the sub. But the point is,
I need to have a submariner on the
My neighbor.
podcast.
My
Oh
neighbor's
yeah,
one.
he's a submariner.
He's in though.
Yeah, I probably can't have any active guys.
yeah, you kind of wait till guys get out.
All right, guys. I think we ought to wrap it up here. This has been a good time. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Little
I've had a
tongue
great
twister there.
time.
You just want to throw out for the listeners that weren't subscribed to YouTube and wasn't watching this live stream, your social media handles
Fairbear_89.
on
Peep my
Instagram.
dogs out. They're
Are
on
you
there all
only
the
on
time.
Instagram or are you on anything else?
No, just Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat. Those are the only 3 things I use really.
Okay.
That Snapchat shit kicks my ass. It doesn't make any sense.
Dude, I've had Snapchat since probably
It's the
2013.
least I use is that.
Yeah, it's useless.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the least I use. For
But
sure.
you have like your Instagram friends, your Snapchat friends, and you're like, I have different. I don't know. Like I hit you up on every other platform we have. I've hit you up on Messenger, on
The only time I use Snapchat is our group. We have a group chat on there
Yeah.
of a bunch of old Anglico guys.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I'm on Snapchat. So what about you? Just your Instagram
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My shit's all boring, man. It's like family stuff. But
and the bug.
yeah, we got bugs
And
on
the
there.
bug, yeah, the
on
bugs
there all
If you're into
time.
Volkswagen Beetles.
Cruising.
Los Vochos.
Los Vochos.
But
Tracy_03 Sergeant Major SGT MAJ. excuse me.
MAJ.
God, I've had a few beers.
Sarg Mag.
But
Too
you know
many
what?
Bud Lights.
We do need to push the Anglico Association.
Oh, go ahead.
So the
Make a
Anglico
pitch.
Association, it's Anglico guys, obviously. Reggie Owens is running it right now. But we need younger guys, Anglico guys. Because most of them are Vietnam, Korea. I think I'm one of few of this generation. But you need more of those younger guys involved.
Same with like the VFW and stuff, right?
Oh,
They're having
for
the same
God's-
kind of issue.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The VFW is freaking awesome.
Is it?
American Legion.
I almost went to the
Awesome.
one in La Jolla when I was up there. I was up there shooting some photos of the waves crashing. I almost swung in there and got a membership.
You should.
I don't know if there's one right here in City Heights around me.
I'm sure there's one around. I mean, you could Google that shit.
I figure I'd go to La Jolla. It gives me a reason to go up there and shoot photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Encinitas American Legion, the post that does the most.
The post that does the most.
Yeah.
So with
But-
the Anglico Association, how can they sign up for it then?
So when you're active duty, it's free. So if you're an Anglico guy now, you sign up and you're in.
Yeah.
And, you get a call once in a while, hey, we're going to do a barbecue for the Marines, or we're going to, whatever it's going to be. Right now he's working on getting Anglico into the Marine Corps Museum because there's no Anglico display
Really?
or no subunit 1. None of that in the Marine Corps Museum.
Wow.
Interesting.
So he's he's working on that, and he's actually got them to start collecting stuff to make a Anglico room or subunit 1 Anglico. Jasco.
That's cool. Jasco.
But yeah, you need to participate in those things, VFW, American Legion, things like that, because the reason we have educational benefits, VA benefits, the reason we have what we have now is because of what those guys did. You know, the American Legion,
They're lobbyists. They're lobbying for.
Well, yeah, you got to have people.
Yeah.
I mean, the American Legion was started after World War I in France. The war is over. All those troops are trapped there, and we're not bringing them home. We're not, getting enough ships or whatever to get everybody back to the States. And the American Legion is like, hey, wait a minute, dudes. We came over here, we fought the war, and we've been sitting here for 6 months, and you can't find a boat to send us home?
Yeah.
And so they formed the American Legion, and that's why we have the GI Bill. You know.
So how do you reach out to the Anglico Association though?
Oh man, they got a website.
The webpage, yeah.
Probably a web page.
They got a
Facebook
Facebook
page.
Yeah.
I think I'm part of the Facebook page.
Yeah,
I think there's like less than 1,000 members. So if you were with Anglico at any time, for sure, jump on there.
Oh yeah, and definitely because it's a small community anyway.
I will say too, though, even if they don't have something in the Marine Corps Museum at the Pentagon, someone sent me a photo. I can't remember who it is, but someone sent me a photo. They have a plaque on the wall at the Pentagon that says Anglico Subunit 1, last combat unit out of Vietnam.
No
That's
way.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Fuck yeah.
I think that was the last probably conventional unit. I'm sure there were some weird dudes, spooky dudes hanging around after the official pullback, but
Probably still there now.
But I know there were Anglico guys calling in naval gunfire during the withdrawal.
Yeah.
Trying to beat people back with fucking.
Damn.
Ugh. I want one of those guys to come on the podcast. One of these old school Vietnam dudes.
You didn't ever get a hold of Reggie?
No, I got to hit him up again. I found his number again today. I called him once. I'll call him again.
I'm gonna put you guys together. He's super intelligent, very well spoken, and then he can lead you in. And we got an Anglico brother that's was a POW.
Oh shit,
He's in Hawaii.
dude.
That's fucking nuts.
That's crazy. I just watched his POW's interview on YouTube the other day. He was talking about being a POW in Hanoi,
Yeah.
the Hanoi Hilton, for I can't remember how long. I couldn't think a couple years.
Damn.
But he was it was over an hour long interview. I was just gonna watch 10 minutes of it, and I ended up sitting here and watching the entire thing. He was talking about being tortured and
My buddy's dad was, and he was crazy.
Hey, you want to have some flashbacks?
you can't blame the guy. I mean, fuck, dude.
There's a movie about I think they're Canadians or British, and they one of the kids steps on a mine. They go down a hill to stop an insurgent from robbing people on the road, and one of them steps on a mine. It's a true story, and then
Is it a documentary or like a movie?
It's a movie, semi-documentary form, but it's a movie. They didn't put their gear on and shit. They're like, hey, we'll just run down the hill, take a couple shots at him. Guy steps on a mine. They go to get him. Another guy steps on a mine.
Oh, shit.
Dude.
Like 4 dudes end up stepping on mines because the rain had washed all the mines off the hillside down into the draw.
Fuck.
And
That's like some early singing shit.
Yeah, they were left over from the Russians. And then an American helicopter comes in to pick them up, and it's blowing mines up and blowing them up.
Oh, my God.
They have to wave off the bird. So you talk about, I was just going to watch 10 minutes. It's on Netflix or whatever. I turn it on, and I stood in my living room for the entire movie. I never sat down. I never moved.
It's just into it.
Dude,
You don't remember what it's called?
Oh, it's I'm gonna have to look it up and I'll send it to you. But
Yes, you are.
It's a the British or Canadian unit in Afghanistan. But when you're watching it, you can smell the dirt. That's how good the movie is. How realistic. You can smell it.
Huh.
It's freaking intense,
Doing
dude.
drugs. He's been smoking pot.
He's on the pot. He's not. For the listeners, he didn't smoke any.
Yeah, I never smoked that.
All right, guys. Well, it was a good time.
Goddamn
Again,
wacky weed.
hit up my Instagram, at Former Action Guys, at J. Kramer Graphics, both those. Hit up my website, jkramergraphics.com. I think that's all of it. I'm on Twitter, number 4, MER Action Guys, if you want to hear me rant at people and just probably... I had Jake Tapper from CNN respond to me the other day because I was like, oh, real groundbreaking news, Jake.
about some bullshit like feel good story he did about the Bidens. And he responded and was like, this was in between stories of people dying and COVID and this and that. And I was like, hey, I understand that, man. I used to watch you and Wolf Blitzer. I thought you guys were good news guys back in the day, but your unfair coverage and unbiased or biased coverage, you would never. I go, you've done more puff pieces for the Biden family than you did for the last administration during the entire administration. He never responded after that, but I did get a. Oh, so if you want to hit me up on Twitter,
he saw it.
I have like 100. I have 115 followers. It's no big deal. So number 4 MER Action Guys on Twitter. And yeah, man. Other than that, I guess that's really it.
Later.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
I gotta pee.